A young man with light brown hair, which appears darker towards the roots, lies in bed, illuminated by the glow of his smartphone. He wears a single earbud, his eyes closed in a moment of quiet contemplation as small particles float around him. The young man's internal monologue begins as he reflects on his past, stating that as he lay in bed in the dead of night, another person's voice was his only solace. He yearns to talk to that person one more time, revealing that there's something he needs to tell them. The images switch between the young man in bed, a wider shot of his messy room with papers scattered around, and then a close-up of a smiling girl with dark hair and a sailor uniform, who also seems to be addressing someone. The scene shifts to a school hallway with a sign for 2C indicating a classroom. The sound of a bell ringing fills the air as an announcement begins. A voice fumbling at first saying, good evening. Good morning, everybody. As you all know, a smiling teacher, a man with a receding hairline, stands at the front of a classroom leaning on a desk. He continues his announcement, revealing that Furin Girls High School will merge with Furin Boys High School this year and become a co-ed school. In the classroom, students fidget nervously. The teacher, still smiling, reassures them by saying he knows it may be hard to adjust to having boys in the class, but he encourages them to try and get along with them. He then suggests it's a new school term, so they should all introduce themselves. A typical icebreaker in such situations, which adds to the nervous energy. The teacher's voice, now shown as text bubbles, states that they should start with the boys on the left. Before he can finish, a student dramatically slams his hand on a desk, creating a loud bam sound, and interrupts the teacher with a forceful "Sensei!" The interrupting student, a young man with dark hair, a white blazer, and a dark tie, stands up, his mouth wide open and an outraged expression. He demands to know what the teacher meant by saying good evening at the start, pointedly asking if he forgot it was morning, which clearly indicates a severe lack of professionalism in the student's eyes. A close-up of the student's intense eye shows his determination as he declares that if the teacher forgot it was morning, that means his speech is imperfect. He imperiously states that the teacher needs to start over, highlighting his demanding nature and obsession with precision. The student, Arisu Yamabuki, strides confidently towards the front of the class. The teacher, looking flustered and apologetic, replies that he honestly thought no one would care, as he tries to remember Arisu's name. Arisu, without hesitation, announces his name is Yamabuki, asserting his identity. Arisu, with an intense expression, points a finger at his chest and loudly proclaims himself as Arisu Yamabuki, the scion of the Yamabuki group, who carries Japan's future on his shoulders. He then declares that perfection is one of his commitments. And, as an aside, casually mentions that his favorite food is peaches. A powerful close-up of Arisu's eye shows his unwavering resolve. He acknowledges that he might be a bit too perfect for the teacher, but states that he looks forward to his tutelage nonetheless. A statement filled with both arrogance and a touch of condescending politeness. The teacher, sweat-dropping, comments that Arisu certainly likes to talk, realizing that this must be the student they had warned him about. He then suggests that since Arisu already waltzed up there, he might as well carry on and introduce himself to the class, trying to regain some control over the situation. Arisu turns to face the class, a wide, confident smile on his face. As he leans on the teacher's shoulder, he eagerly responds that it would be his absolute honor to introduce himself, displaying an almost theatrical flair. Arisu, now facing the class, explains that he's still only 99% perfect, and to find that missing 1%, he shall need some help from the ladies. This statement causes a ripple of excited chatter among the students, indicating his unique and attention-grabbing personality. Arisu leans forward, a mischievous grin on his face, as he places his hands behind his ears as if listening intently. He dramatically announces that he'd like the ladies to take turns and say, "I love you" to him. A bold and unexpected request. Arisu stands hands behind his ears, facing the stunned classroom. The other students, both boys and girls, stare at him in complete silence, their expressions ranging from shock to bewilderment as the audacity of his request hangs in the air. A blonde male student, looking utterly defeated, laments that this was the worst introduction in human history. Another male student with dark hair aggressively confronts Arisu, shouting, "God damn it, Yamabuki," as Arisu stands there, looking unfazed. In the chaotic classroom, a male student with blonde hair passionately complains that they finally got to interact with girls, but Arisu had to go and blow it. Another male student with dark hair shouts that Arisu has to stop saying that every time he runs into a girl, pointing out that thanks to him, the girls are all giving them funny looks, while the girls in the background whisper and giggle amongst themselves. Arisu, with a slight confident smirk, calmly responds that adversity builds character, wouldn't they say? He then adds, with a touch of self-congratulation, that he's the one at fault, yet he can whip out a perfect reply expressing both wisdom and hope for the future. showing his unshakable self-belief. A voice from off-panel addresses Arisu directly, asking, "Hey, Arisu Yamabuki-kun, right?" Arisu turns his head, a quizzical expression on his face, as 3 question marks hover above his head, indicating his surprise. Rika, a girl with reddish-brown braided hair and a cheerful expression, asks Arisu if the Yamabuki group is filthy rich, then queries about his "I love you" comment. Another girl behind her smiles, waiting for Arisu's response, adding to the pressure. Rika, leaning in with a bright smile, asks if the missing 1% he's looking for is a girlfriend. Without skipping a beat, she then enthusiastically volunteers herself for the position, directly confronting Arisu with her bold proposition and catching him off guard. The male students in the background react with astonishment, one exclaiming, "Damn it! They still flock to Yamabuki anyway," and another shouting, "Furrin girls or something else." They are clearly frustrated by Arisu's unexpected popularity, especially after his earlier antics. Arisu stands next to Rika, his face shadowed, indicating discomfort, as Rika looks up at him with a mischievous expression. The sound of clattering emanates from Arisu, hinting at his internal turmoil and physical distress. A close-up on Arisu's distressed face shows sweat dripping and his heart beating rapidly, symbolized by ba-dump sound effects. He thinks to himself, "Eep? This is way too sudden," while Rika, still smiling, states, I'm totally ready for anything." Completely oblivious to his internal panic, Arisu, with one hand cupped behind his ear, tells Rika that her words don't have the same kind of carrying power, as if evaluating her voice. Rika looks up at him, her smile fading slightly into confusion as she tries to understand his peculiar comment. Arisu abruptly announces to Rika, "Sorry, but it's bathroom time for me," causing Rika to look bewildered and ask, "What are you talking about?" She then repeats his unusual phrase, "Bathroom time," clearly confused by his sudden and strange excuse. Arisu, with his hands gripping his stomach, proudly declares that his intestinal flora is also perfect, making gurgling sounds as he states that nature calls at a specific time every day, and asks if it's not quite a perk. Rika, looking shocked, wonders if that's even considered a perk. A girl with orange pigtails, Nine Himakawa, turns to a blonde boy and asks, "You guys were in the same class as him, right? What is his deal?" She seeks an explanation for Arisu's odd behavior, while another male student looks on, equally perplexed by Arisu's pronouncements. Arisu walks down the hallway, the sound of his shoes squeaking. One of his classmates explains that they've been his classmates since the 2nd year of middle school. He adds that Arisu has always acted that way with girls, suggesting this is a long-standing habit. The same classmate continues, saying that Arisu is looking for this one girl, prompting another student to exclaim, "Whoa, for real?" and ask what she's like, showing their curiosity about Arisu's mysterious quest. The classmate then reveals the surprising truth: Arisu doesn't even know what she looks like. Another student reacts with a bewildered "What? He's looking for a girl whose face he doesn't even know?" highlighting the eccentricity of Arisu's search. Arisu is shown in profile looking thoughtful as his classmate reveals the true object of his search, not her face, but her voice. This revelation adds a layer of mystery and sentimentality to Arisu's otherwise outlandish personality. Arisu is jolted awake by a ringing sound, depicted with jolt and ring-a-ting sound effects, his eyes wide with surprise. The urgent sound causes him to sit up quickly in his bed. Arisu quickly stands up, his white blazer flying behind him as he moves with a sudden whoosh and rustle from his clothes. He looks a bit confused and disoriented from being startled by the rain. Arisu looks at his smartphone, which displays a message from Mom that reads, "I got a perm! I'll send you a pic." The message was received 10 seconds ago, and a creak sound suggests he's moved to check it. Arisu holds his phone, a slight blush on his cheeks, and remarks to himself that it's just a text from Mom. He then internally scolds himself, admitting that setting that particular sound effect for notifications isn't good for his heart, revealing a sensitive side. A close-up of Arisu's eye shows a bead of sweat, as he inwardly confesses that the notification sound truly isn't good for his heart. This emphasizes his dramatic and easily startled nature. A 12-year-old Arisu, looking fidgety and anxious, sits on his bed. His expression suggests a mixture of anticipation and nervousness, hinting at a significant event he's awaiting. A close-up of young Arisu's eye captures his focus as a series of ring-a-ting sound effects emanate from off-panel. This visually represents the frantic ringing that grabs his attention. The panel flashes back to Arisu in middle school, sitting on his bed in the messy room. The ring-a-ting sounds continue, and Arisu, looking excited, exclaims, "It's here!" indicating he's been eagerly anticipating this sound. Arisu holds his smartphone, which displays an app called Apollo, broadcasting Midnight Heart Tune. He reveals that this radio show, hosted by a girl named Apollo, was his only joy, suggesting a deep emotional connection to the broadcast. The phone screen displays the live broadcast of Midnight Heart Tune. Apollo's voice welcomes listeners to the show, and she begins to recount, "You wouldn't believe what happened at my school today," drawing Arisu into her world. Arisu sits on his bed, listening intently to the broadcast. He recalls that Apollo barely had any listeners, and a lot of the time it was just a conversation between the two of them, emphasizing the intimate and personal nature of their connection. Young Arisu closes his eyes and smiles, a faint blush on his cheeks, as he remembers their childish talks that would happen at 12 a.m. every night, highlighting the warmth and comfort he found in Apollo's broadcasts. Apollo's broadcast continues, and she announces that it's time to end her broadcast, stating she gives it 100% every day and invites listeners to tune in and hang out with her again tomorrow. Arisu, with wide eyes, knows these words were part of her show, not meant for him alone, yet they carried immense personal meaning. Apollo concludes her broadcast by saying, "Thank you, my dear listeners, and good night." Arisu, now a high school student, stands in a classroom looking thoughtful. He acknowledges that while her words were part of her show, they still meant a lot to him, showing the enduring impact of her voice. The reddish-brown-haired girl, Rika, leans in close to Arisu, her hand gently touching his chin. With a soft, almost whispered expression of affection, she says, "I love you," creating an intimate and startling moment for Arisu. Arisu's eyes are wide open in shock, his face frozen, an expression of utter disbelief and surprise. The unexpected declaration from Rika has clearly caught him completely off guard, leaving him speechless. Arisu suddenly turns and dashes away, a whoosh, indicating his rapid movement. He runs frantically down the hallway, leaving Rika behind, a clear sign of his panic and evasion from the sudden confession. Rika, looking directly at the viewer with a wide, confident smile, laughs cheerily and asks Arisu if that's what he wanted her to say. Her posture is bold and inviting, demonstrating her playful and teasing personality. Rika strides confidently after Arisu, asking, "Who are you?" While Arisu looks back, still reeling, Rika then points out that break time will be over soon, implying he needs to finish whatever he's doing. Rika grins slyly, her eyes half closed in a knowing expression, as she asks Arisu if he doesn't need to use the bathroom. Her question is pointed and slightly teasing, reminding him of his earlier excuse. Arisu is bent over, clutching his stomach, making loud gurgling sounds as he shouts, "No! I forgot!" The realization of his urgent biological need hits him suddenly and dramatically, making him panic. Arisu, still clutching his stomach and making gurgling sounds, pleads, "Wait, tell me your name!" Rika stands some distance away, looking back at him playfully, asking, "You sure? Won't you stain your pants?" further embarrassing him. Arisu hopples away in an undignified manner, vehemently denying Rika's suggestion, declaring, "Ayama Bruki would never soil himself. Mivier." Another student in the background looks on, asking, "Whoa, what is wrong with that guy?" Highlighting Arisu's bizarre behavior, the scene moves to the school cafeteria, a bustling space with many students seated at tables, enjoying their lunch. The overhead sign clearly labels the setting as cafeteria. In the cafeteria, various male students chat amongst themselves. One asks if any girls have talked to them yet, to which another responds, "Nope." Another student complains that the girls looked at him like he was better than dog poop, while a fourth, more positive student advises to be grateful they looked at them at all. This highlights the boys' anxieties about interacting with the newly integrated girls. Arisu sits alone, deep in thought, recalling the girl's voice from the hallway. He murmurs to himself that her voice was pretty similar to Apollo's, he thinks, a revelation that intrigues him. A close-up of Arisu's eye shows him looking worried and regretful, with beads of sweat on his brow. He thinks that he's not sure if it was her, as she caught him off guard and nature's call had him in its throes, indicating his prior distraction. Arisu's eyes are focused and determined, with sweat visible on his brow, as he further rationalizes that besides, Apollo's last broadcast was more than 3 years ago, suggesting the unlikelihood of his current theory, yet he still ponders. Arisu's eye spirals, demonstrating his frustration as he realizes that his memories of her voice have grown hazy. He then cries out, "Damn it, I want to hear her voice again," revealing his longing and determination to rediscover the voice. Arisu continues to mumble to himself, earning bewildered looks from his male classmates at the cafeteria table, who comment that he's just being weird like usual, and question what his deal is. The casual beep sound from the speaker hints at a new development on the horizon. A speaker mounted on the wall suddenly comes to life with a bap and boop, announcing, "This is the Broadcasting Club. We'll be delivering your noon announcements. Let's all have a great school year together." The announcement sparks new interest. Students in the classroom erupt in excited chatter, exclaiming that a girl's voice is coming from the speaker. They note that this is refreshing, as the Boys Broadcasting Club was pretty dead last year, making this a significant and welcome change for them. A male student with dark hair looks excited as he remarks that the girl's voice is cute, even if the sound quality kind of sucks due to ancient equipment. He concludes that they can at least count this as a plus for going co-ed, prompting him to ask Arisu if he agrees, indicating a new opportunity. Arisu, holding chopsticks, stares wide-eyed at his friend, his mouth agape and drooling. His expression is one of utter shock and a dawning realization, as if the voice from the speaker has completely stunned him, making his current meal irrelevant. Arisu quickly stands up, causing a clatter as his chair scrapes back. He turns his back on his blonde friend, who looks surprised, already preparing to leave the cafeteria without a second thought for his lunch. Arisu dashes rapidly out of the cafeteria, his blonde friend calling out, "Hey Che, what about your lunch?" Arisu, without sobbing, shouts back that something just came up and he must depart, demonstrating the urgency of his sudden realization. Arisu looks back with a determined expression, declaring not to worry, as Yamabuki, such as himself, is not so feeble that he would die from skipping a single meal. His blonde friend, still bewildered, replies that neither would anyone else, highlighting Arisu's dramatic flair even in simple matters. Arisu hurries up a set of stairs, a determined look on his face as he continues his internal monologue. He recounts that due to the schools merging, they will be revamping club activities, and the details will be worked out during the meeting between the club presidents, indicating an opportunity to find Apollo. Arisu's intense gaze is framed by concentric circles, as he recalls that Apollo abruptly ended her show at the end of his first year of middle school, and her archive was also deleted, taking with it any clue he could have used to track her down. However, he refuses to give up. Arisu, with renewed determination, clenches his fist as he remembers that, based on previous exchanges, he was able to surmise that she was a student. He also confirmed that she's in the same grade and lives in the same prefecture as him, narrowing down his search considerably. A close-up of Arisu's intense eye radiating with focus shows him recalling Apollo's words. She also said she'd like to go to an all-girls high school with a good view of the sea, providing the final clue to his quest. A target scope overlaid on a map of Japan centers on a specific area, indicating Arisu's precise deduction. He confidently states that he got a rough idea of where she might be based on the scope of her activities, and, upon close investigation of every all-girls school in the area, he can confidently say that the school formerly known as Furin Girls High is the closest to the sea, making his target clear. Arisu leans back triumphantly, bursting into laughter and declaring, "Ma ha ha ha! Sometimes my sheer genius frightens even me." He then reveals that he also caught wind that the school would merge with Furin Boys, which is why he chose to go here instead of a prep school, confirming his elaborate plan. A close-up of Arisu's eye shows him intently focused on his objective, beads of sweat on his brow and a serious expression. He pauses, collecting his thoughts, before proceeding to the next step of his mission. Arisu stands before a door labeled Broadcasting Room, Temp, his back to the viewer. He thinks to himself, "I want to talk to you one more time," as the shark shba sound of him reaching the door is heard, emphasizing the gravity of this moment for him. The door to the broadcasting room, Temp, looms large. Arisu, with unwavering determination, declares, "There is something I need to tell you," preparing himself for the long-awaited confrontation. Arisu reaches out and grabs the doorknob, with a firm grip, a grab sound effect indicating his action. He declares that his missing 1% is waiting behind this door, building anticipation for the reveal. The door swings open with a ka-chak sound as Arisu looks inside, his eyes wide in surprise. He begins to say, "Is your," as he steps into the room, preparing to complete his thought and discover Apollo's identity. Arisu stands bewildered at the entrance of the temporary broadcasting room, facing four girls who are equally stunned. From left to right, Shinobu Uzuki with black and white hair, a girl with red pigtails, Nine Hamikawa, a girl with cat ears, Iko Karino, and Rika Inohana with braided reddish-brown hair. They all stare at Arisu, creating a moment of mutual shock and surprise. Arisu, with an apologetic expression, sheepishly offers his apologies for interrupting their broadcast. He explains that there's something he wants to tell them and something he wants to ask them, indicating his dual purpose for entering. Rika, the girl with braided hair, looks down at Arisu with a sigh, her expression unamused. A huff indicates her annoyance as she processes his interruption. Nin Himikawa, the girl with pigtails and horns, angrily shouts, "Hey! You can't just walk in here while we're broadcasting." Sparks of frustration fly from her, reflecting her anger at the unexpected intrusion, as another girl reacts in shock beside her. Arisu, now flustered and blushing, causes his heart to dump as Nine asks if they're going to start over again. Rika, still focused, calmly tells her to turn off the mic for now, attempting to regain control of the situation amidst the chaos. Rika's eyes widen slightly in realization, and she says, "Oh, hold on. Her expression shifts to one of intrigue, suggesting she's recognized something about Arisu. Rika smiles knowingly, asking the other girls, "You know him, Rika-chan?" She then reveals that Arisu is the guy who almost soiled himself in the hallway, causing Nine to declare that this is exactly why she was so against the co-ed thing. Meanwhile, Iko, the girl with cat ears, worriedly asks Arisu if he's okay, since he hit his head and all, showing concern for his well-being. Arisu, looking sheepish and with a bead of sweat on his brow, holds up a hand in apology. He admits, "I'm sorry. I let my emotions get the better of me," showing a rare moment of humility, but still with a confident, slightly upward gaze. Arisu's eyes are wide and serious, beads of sweat still visible on his forehead as he leans forward. He explains that the thing is, the girl he met in the hallway really does sound like Apollo, reiterating his strong suspicion in the core of his quest. Arisu looks determined, his eyes narrow, and he declares with a jolt of realization, "They all sound like her," indicating a shocking discovery that complicates his search. Arisu, with a thoughtful expression, observes Rika, the girl with braided hair. He remarks that she has the same type of voice as Apollo, highlighting the striking similarity and his ongoing confusion. Arisu looks at Shinobu, the black-haired girl who is smiling cheerfully. He notes that the intonation and pronunciation of the black-haired girl in the back sound rather familiar, adding another layer of uncertainty to his quest. Arisu observes Iko, the white-haired girl with a cat ear hoodie. He muses that the way she speaks so softly is just like when Apollo spoke in a hushed voice so that her parents wouldn't notice. A poignant memory that further deepens his dilemma. Arisu looks at Nane, the girl with pigtails. He realizes that Nane has the same angry voice as Apollo, adding another conflicting piece of evidence. He internally curses, "Damn it! I didn't think I'd be so uncertain just because I haven't heard her voice in 3 years," highlighting his frustration with his fading memories. Arisu, with a troubled expression, whispers to himself that even a Yamabuki like him could have never foreseen this. He questions where he goes from here, indicating his complete bewilderment at the discovery that all 4 girls sound like Apollo, which creates a huge problem for his goal. Rika and Shinobu approach Arisu, both smiling warmly. Rika comments that since he's here, she asks if that means he wants to go pro too, revealing the broadcasting club's ambitious nature and inviting Arisu into their world. Arisu looks confused, asking, "Go pro?" He then questions, "Whatever do you mean?" showing his ignorance about the club's true aspirations while the 4 girls stand around him, looking eager to explain. Nini Himikawa, with an annoyed expression and arms crossed, glares at Arisu. She curtly asks, "Excuse me? Why are you even here if you know nothing about this club?" Her confrontational tone clearly expresses her irritation at his ignorance. Iko Kirino, the girl in the cat ear hoodie, steps forward, her hood flapping. She explains that the current Furin Girls Broadcasting Club is reserved specifically for people like them, revealing their shared goal. They all want to pursue a career with their voices. The 4 girls, Rika, Shinobu, Iko, and Nene, stand confidently together, looking at Arisu. They collectively declare, "Exactly, voice professionals," emphasizing their shared ambition and the seriousness of their club. Shinobu Uzuki, the black-haired girl, smiles brightly and confidently states, "I'm aiming to become an announcer," revealing her specific professional aspiration and showcasing her bubbly personality. Iko Kirino, the girl in the cat ear hoodie, looks a bit shy, pulling her hood down slightly. She quietly reveals her dream is to be a VTuber, indicating a more modern and introverted path to voice professionalism. Nini Himikawa, the girl with pigtails and horns, stands confidently, placing a hand on her chest. She assertively asks, "You can tell I aspire to be a voice actress just from my voice, can't you?" Chi, challenging Arisu with her powerful voice and ambition. Rika Inohana, the braided-haired girl, smiles charmingly as she states her aspiration. "I want to become a singer." Her gentle smile and confident posture convey her artistic dream. Arisu, with wide, intense eyes and a slight blush, is deep in thought. He wonders, "Can I talk about my dream tonight?" hinting at a memory from the past connected to Apollo. A flashback shows young Arisu sitting on his bed, talking to Apollo. She asks, "Your dream?" And he confidently declares, "I want to get a voice-related job," establishing his long-held ambition. Still in the flashback, Apollo asks, "A voice-related job? Like what?" Young Arisu replies that there are all kinds of jobs out there, but he hasn't decided yet, indicating the broadness of his early aspirations. The panel shows a blurred transition representing the flow of Arisu's thoughts in the flashback. He continues listing potential jobs, starting with, for starters, building anticipation for his list. Young Arisu continues his list, mentioning that there are voice actors and announcers. He also believes that VTubers will grow even bigger in the future, and becoming a singer isn't a bad choice either, covering all the bases of voice-related professions. In the flashback, young Arisu encourages Apollo, saying, "I'm sure you can do it." Apollo responds with a soft, "Hee hee, thank you," appreciating his encouragement and their shared moment. Back in the present, Arisu, with wide, shocked eyes and sweat dripping down his face, exclaims, "Ooh, in that case, suggesting he's had a sudden realization about his approach. Shinobu Uzuki, the black-haired girl from Class 2D, looks surprised and asks Arisu if he's from Class 2C. She mentions a rumor that he said some crazy stuff during his intro, highlighting his infamous reputation. Shinobu holds a hand to her chin, looking thoughtful, as she tries to recall the specifics. She mutters, what was it again? Struggling to remember the exact scandalous words Arisu used during his introduction. Shinobu's eyes gleam with a mischievous glint as she dramatically recites, "Please be my lover and bear my child," or something. Arisu reacts by comically spitting out water from his mouth. Shocked by her exaggerated rendition of his introduction, Nani Himakawa, the girl with pigtails, angrily kicks Arisu, sending him sprawling backwards with a kick sound effect. She furiously denies Shinobu's version, shouting that is not what I said. Defending her reputation from the misquote, Nini glares down at the fallen Arisu, her expression full of disdain. She calls him a total creep, asking what the hell. She then accuses him, "I bet you're here to prey on us too," labeling him as a pervert and escalating the confrontation. Nini, still glaring at Arisu, declares that he even has the face of a degenerate, and she can just tell he has a ton of dick pics stored in the cloud. Arisu, looking genuinely horrified and defensive, shouts back, "That's not true at all. I'm just here to see someone," desperately trying to clear his name. Iko Karino, the girl with the cat ear hoodie, holds up a tablet displaying her VTuber avatar, a cute blonde girl with cat ears. She asks Arisu with a hint of shyness, "Would that be me?" suggesting she might be the someone he's looking for. Iko, now looking directly at Arisu, explains that it's been so long since she last talked to a boy in person, and being shy is part of her character, she explains. The image of her avatar is still held up, creating a stark contrast between her online persona and real-life shyness. Arisu, with a crestfallen expression and sweat on his brow, looks away from Iko. He sadly admits, "Oh, I know. Sorry, but it's not you," delivering the disappointing news to the hopeful girl. Rika Inohana, the braided-haired girl from Class 2B, leans in close to Arisu's ear, whispering teasingly, "You're here to see me, right?" Her playful tone suggests she knows something Arisu doesn't, adding a layer of mystery. Rika laughs heartily, her eyes closed in amusement, declaring, "Ah ha ha ha, I'm just messing with you." Her playful prank catches Arisu completely off guard, demonstrating her mischievous nature. Arisu, now with a serious expression, looks at Rika and firmly states, "Yeah, I'm here to see you." His directness is unexpected, cutting through her teasing and establishing the true purpose of his visit. A close-up of Arisu's resolute eyes shows his intense sincerity. He swears on the Yamabuki name that he doesn't have any unsavory motive, and then quietly adds that he just wants to hear her voice again, revealing his pure and emotional intent. Rika looks up at Arisu, her eyes wide with surprise and a blush on her cheeks. She simply murmurs, "Oh," clearly taken aback by Arisu's heartfelt and unexpected confession. Realizing his seriousness, Arisu, extending his hand towards the girls, explains that he didn't foresee this situation, but it's no matter. He just needs to ask them all directly, indicating his new plan to uncover Apollo's identity and showing his adaptability. Arisu looks intently at the girls, his mouth slightly open as he poses the crucial question, "If anyone here?" Arisu, facing the four girls, completes his question, "Is Apollo? Raise your hand." The girls stand stiffly, none of them raising their hands, creating intense silence as Arisu awaits a response that doesn't come. Arisu's face reflects deep disappointment and confusion, his eyes wide and uncertain. The lack of response to his direct question leaves him baffled, forcing him to reconsider his assumptions. The four girls, Nanae, Iko, Shinobu, and Rika, stand together, their expressions a mix of confusion and disinterest. They look unimpressed by Arisu's strange question, creating a collective blank stare that further frustrates him. Nini looks puzzled, asking, "What is he talking about?" Shinobu, holding a piece of chocolate, exclaims, "I love that chocolate." Iko, still stoic, simply asks, "Who?" While Rika, looking equally confused, questions, "The chocolate, hun?" Their nonplussed reactions indicate they have no idea what he's referring to. A close-up of Arisu's eye shows a single tear falling, his expression one of profound despair. He thinks to himself, "It can't be. Apollo isn't among them." Realizing his confident deduction might have been completely wrong and feeling the sting of failure, Arisu, still reeling from the shock, begins to process the situation. He murmurs, no, based on their voices, one of them has to be her, which means leading him to a new conclusion about Apollo's identity. The four girls stand, their eyes glowing ominously, as Arisu realizes Apollo wants to conceal her identity? The dramatic lighting emphasizes the mystery surrounding Apollo's true intentions. Arisu's face is filled with regret and self-recrimination, sweat dripping down his temple. He curses himself, thinking, I shouldn't have asked them directly. That was a major blunder. He then wonders if this has to do with her ending her show out of nowhere, connecting her past disappearance with her current secrecy. Neen, the girl with pigtails, stands in front of Arisu and tells him directly, we need to restart our broadcast, so can you get out? Arisu, looking defeated, simply replies, oh okay, acknowledging their request and his defeat. Arisu turned his head slightly, a determined glint in his eye. He reassures himself, this is fine. I know where they are. I'll have plenty of chances to uncover who Apollo is later, not giving up on his quest despite the setback. Arisu closes the broadcasting room door with a k-chack sound. He glances back, a sly look on his face, reaffirming his conviction that he'll have plenty of chances to uncover Apollo later, showing his unyielding resolve. Arisu steps out of the broadcasting room. He is met by a large, angry mob of male students, their faces contorted in fury. They glare at him with hostile expressions, forming a formidable barrier, a direct consequence of Arisu's presence among the girls. The angry mob surrounds Arisu, shouting, Rah! In unison. One student fiercely accuses, you all saw a boy walking in too, didn't you? Another demands, are you even a member of the club? While a third student declares, I knew he was in here, demonstrating their collective outrage at Arisu's perceived intrusion. The mob continues its aggressive chants, shouting, Rah! Drag him out! Rag! Tear his limbs off and throw him into a bonfire. As Arisu stands facing them, looking small and overwhelmed by their violent threats, the students are clearly overreacting to his presence. Arisu quickly closes the door to the broadcasting room, a tonking sound indicating his hasty action. He barricades himself inside, seeking refuge from the enraged mob outside, realizing the gravity of the situation. Arisu leans against the now-closed door, a wry smile playing on his lips, and chuckles softly, ha. His reaction suggests he's amused, or perhaps even enjoying the dramatic turn of events, despite the danger. Nine, the girl with pigtails and horns, glares at Arisu and informs him there's an angry mob outside. Arisu, looking surprised, asks, what is their deal? Nini then adds condescendingly, I guess you boys wouldn't know, highlighting the gender divide. Nani smiles, putting up a peace sign, and explains to Arisu that they're actually quite popular among the girls. She adds that they even have their own fan clubs, so he should not underestimate their influence and popularity. Arisu's eyes are wide with panic and sweat drips down his face as he realizes, I've committed a fatal error. Nine, with a sweet smile, then informs him, today's the last day you can come anywhere near us, U-2661, delivering a devastating blow to his plans. Nini grabs Arisu and pushes him towards the door, shouting, all right, get your butt out of here. Arisu struggles against her, pleading, wait, trying to prevent his expulsion, but Nani is determined to remove him. Nane continues to shove Arisu, who is now wide-eyed with fear and desperation. He protests, no, if I leave now, I'll never be able to approach them again. I must hear their voices again, in person, emphasizing the critical nature of his mission. Arisu, with his mouth wide open, frantically shouts, wait, I want to get a voice-related job, desperately trying to use his ambition as a bargaining chip to stay in the club, revealing his true motives. Arisu, with wide, frantic eyes, declares to Nani, I know a lot about voice work. In other words, I'm also a pro. He then asserts with a determined finger raised, thus, I have the right to join this club, making his case for membership. Nini looks unimpressed, accusing Arisu, you're just lying because you want to stay here in this paradise. Arisu, holding his ground, vehemently retorts, I'm not lying, refusing to back down from her accusation. A flashback shows young Arisu talking to Apollo, who tells him, I'm sure you can do it, Apollo, hee. Thank you. In that case, I'll... In the present, Arisu, with a determined expression, asserts truly, I've spent more time studying up on it than anyone else, using his past dedication as proof. Arisu, with a wide-open-mouthed declaration, proclaims his dedication. Learn all I can and obtain perfect knowledge about voice work, so that I can help you out with your job. He then points to his head, stating, the proof is that I've noticed this club has a fatal flaw, preparing to reveal his critical observation. Arisu turns to the girls, his face serious, and declares, "It's the equipment." He angrily points out that during their announcements, there was so much noise he couldn't bear to listen to it, and he was frankly shocked when he heard they wanted to go pro with such shoddy sound quality. He then reiterates his friend's earlier observation that their equipment must be ancient, which is clearly a problem in his eyes. Shinobu and Iko, both looking calm, acknowledge Arisu's point. Shinobu states, "Well, you're not wrong." Iko adds, "This school is pretty old," validating his observation about their outdated equipment. Arisu, with a triumphant smirk, straightens his tie and announces, "So, here's my proposal. If you let me join this club, I'll gift you all with new equipment," offering a generous and strategic incentive to gain entry. The girls look surprised by Arisu's offer. He confidently adds, "Oh, and don't worry about money. I made about 1,000,000 yen in the stock market last month," further sweetening the deal and showcasing his wealth, which catches the girls off guard. Shinobu claps her hands together enthusiastically, her eyes sparkling, and exclaims, "Awesome! We'd be happy to have you." Nine, in the background, looks aghast and shouts, "You're just gonna take the bait!" clearly disapproving of Shinobu's eagerness to accept. Shinobu, with a cheerful smile, explains that new equipment would be such a boon for them, and having more manpower makes things easier too. Nene angrily asks Rika if she's okay with this, while Iko looks on, equally accepting, highlighting the differing opinions within the group. Rika turns her head to Arisu, a soft smile on her face, and simply says, "Yeah." She then explains her reasoning, stating, "I do like his voice, after all," revealing a personal preference that influences her decision. Arisu stands motionless, his face blank and eyes wide, staring straight ahead. Riki's unexpected compliment about his voice leaves him completely dumbfounded, frozen in a state of shock and disbelief. Arisu regains his composure and, with a confident smile, extends his hand. He thanks Rika and promises, "I'll do everything in my power as the president to help you all." Nani, hands on her hips, furiously asks, "Hee, who died and made you president?" "Rika is our president," reminding him of the actual leadership. Shinobu agrees with Rika, saying they have to return the favor somehow, but then asks, "What could a well-off guy like him possibly want, though?" Iko, standing nearby, looks thoughtful, pondering the same question, hinting at a hidden desire Arisu might have. Rika, with a knowing smile, exclaims, "Oh!" She then confidently states, "I know there's one thing he wants," attracting the attention of the other girls who ask, "Oh yeah?" Rika leans in and whispers something into Nani's ear. Nani's eyes widen in shock, her mouth agape in surprise, as she processes Rika's secret revelation, which clearly catches her off guard. Rika addresses Arisu, asking him to turn around for a second, to which he agrees. The other girls, Nene, Shinobu, and Iko, stand in a line, watching the exchange with a mixture of anticipation and nervousness. Arisu turns his back, looking a bit confused. Rika's head floats above the panel, reassuring him that it doesn't cost you anything to say it. Meanwhile, Iko and Shinobu's heads float too, with Iko thinking, "I don't really mind," and Shinobu wondering, would this be a good enough reward for him? Nena's head is shown looking annoyed, screaming, "What at? No, not on my life." Arisu, still with his back turned, glances over his shoulder with a suspicious look. He asks, "You're not pranking me, are you?" Showing he's wary of Rika's intentions, even as he's about to fulfill her request. With Arisu's back still turned, the four girls, Rika, Shinobu, Iko, and Nani, gather around him, each with a different expression. They lean in close, smiling mischievously, and collectively whisper, "I love you." Yamabuki-kun, fulfilling Rika's request in a surprising and overwhelming way. Arisu's face is hit with an explosion of pure shock, his eyes wide and mouth agape as small particles fly off him. The sudden chorus of "I love you" has completely overwhelmed the senses, leaving him stunned. Girls react to Arisu's stunned silence. Nene, hands on her hips, demands, "What'd Ida say that for?" and exclaims she felt sick saying that. Shinobu, with a sly smile, asks if this isn't just what he wanted them to say, while Iko looks down, her heart racing. Arisu, with his head in his hands, is completely overwhelmed. Nain, hands on her hips, declares he ran away. He was so shocked, he ran away. As Arisu rapidly exits the room, Rika, still at the mic, looks over, saying, All right, I haven't eaten lunch, so I need to go," abandoning the broadcast due to Arisu's chaotic exit. Arisu, with a look of extreme determination, slams his hand onto the doorframe, making a BAM sound. His body is tensed, indicating his firm resolve, a stark contrast to his earlier panicked escape. Arisu closes the door to the broadcasting room with a firm Tunking sound. He stands outside, looking composed but resolute, having intentionally left the girls behind to process the situation. A speech bubble with ellipses indicates a moment of quiet reflection, allowing the weight of the previous events to settle, emphasizing the internal processing occurring. Arisu's internal monologue continues, expressing his surprise that he'd actually considered giving up his search for Apollo, and he didn't expect to be able to meet her again like this, revealing his renewed hope. Back in his room, Arisu sits on his bed, illuminated by a single lamp, surrounded by books. He imagines Apollo's voice saying, "Thank you for tuning in. Looks like it's just you and me again today, Arisu." He internally muses that if he can meet her again, there's one thing he'd like to tell her. A close-up on Arisu's ear, with an earbud in place, shows him listening intently. He imagines Apollo's voice saying, "My dear listeners, I love you." His expression suggests deep emotion and connection to her words. Arisu sits on his bed, looking at his phone, a confident smile on his face. He imagines Apollo saying, "Great job today, Apollo," and, indicating his continued internal conversation with her broadcast. A close-up on Arisu's smiling mouth shows him about to speak, a moment of hesitation represented by and ellipses. He prepares to respond to his imagined Apollo, showcasing his ongoing connection to her voice. Arisu smiles warmly, a faint blush on his cheeks, as he whispers to himself, "I love you too. Good night." This private moment reveals the depth of his feelings for Apollo and the comfort he finds in her imaginary presence. Arisu blushes intensely, sweat pouring down his face as he dramatically wonders, "Would you allow me to retract those words I said back then?" The bluish sound effect emphasizes his acute embarrassment at his past declaration. Arisu cowers on the floor, clutching his head, screaming, "Ash, Ash, Ash," each H in mortification. He laments, "Gah." Even now, just thinking about it makes me cringe. He continues to chastise himself. A perfect Yamabuki isn't supposed to commit such a blunder. I confess my love to a girl whose face I didn't even know. Arisu stands, panting, with wide, frantic eyes, sweat dripping down his face. He declares with intense self-reproach, "How can a pathetic man who showed weakness to someone be perfect? Those who inherit the Yamabuki name must free themselves of all their emotional hang-ups." His words reveal his internal struggle for perfection. Arisu blushes again, his eyes narrowed in a determined expression as he imagines the possibility. He hopes it to be marvelous if she already forgot, but grimly realizes that if she has a local copy of her archive, he'll need that to be deleted. He fears it could be used against him after his career takes off, emphasizing the high stakes of his perfectionist image. Nani, with a determined expression, informs another girl, "He just took off like a rocket." She then concludes, "It is imperative I identify Apollo as soon as possible." She turns to the other girls, adding, "Okay, let's get ready to restart the broadcast," focusing on their club duties. Nine, with a skeptical expression, questions Rika, "Is letting a boy join our club really the best idea?" His eyes just have lecture written all over them, clearly expressing her distrust and disapproval of Arisu's membership. Rika smiles serenely, her eyes closed, and calmly responds to Nani's concerns. She states, "He seemed like an upstanding guy to me," showing her optimistic view of Arisu, a stark contrast to Nine's suspicion. Iko, the girl in the cat ear hoodie, looks thoughtful. She admits, "I'd love to get a new computer." She then adds with a practical air, "It never hurts to have a rich friend or two," revealing her ulterior motive for accepting Arisu. Shinobu, with a cheerful smile and outstretched hand, enthusiastically tells the other girls, "Come on, girls, the broadcast will start soon." She encourages them to prepare, shifting their focus back to their duties. Iko, the girl in the cat ear hoodie, stands poised, holding a book, her eyes wide as if in mid-sentence, ready to begin the broadcast. Rika, the girl with braided reddish-brown hair, turns to the side, her expression focused and ready for the broadcast. Her hair cascades over her shoulder, highlighting her poised demeanor. Shinobu, the black and white-haired girl, stands tall and elegant, her gaze steady, prepared to deliver the school announcements with precision and charm. Nini, the girl with pigtails and horns, holds a pen to her lips, a thoughtful and slightly defiant expression on her face, ready to contribute her voice to the broadcast. A speech bubble against a plain white background simply states, "It felt like my heart stood still for a moment," conveying a sudden, impactful emotional experience, likely referring to Arisu's reaction to the girls' voices. In a dreamy, ethereal scene, a girl's voice, presumed to be Apollo, speaks to Arisu. She addresses him directly, "Arisu-kun," acknowledging his presence. She then confesses, "I could have never expected you'd come see me like this. I never thought I would hear your voice again." Her words carry a tone of surprise and heartfelt emotion. The girl's voice continues, "I'm sorry I can't tell you that I'm Apollo right now. but I really enjoyed the 1 year we spent together. The visual of a girl wearing headphones facing away highlights her hidden identity and the personal connection she feels with Arisu, despite not revealing herself. The girl, now shown lying in bed with her smartphone, echoes Arisu's earlier memory, reflecting that as she lay alone in her bed in the dead of night, his voice was her only solace. This parallel thought confirms their deep mutual connection, even if unspoken. The screen of a smartphone shows the Apollo broadcasting app. The girl's internal monologue continues, stating that she was always lamenting how few listeners she had, but the truth is, she was happy enough just being able to talk to Arisu, and just hearing his voice was good enough for her, highlighting the personal significance of their interactions. A close-up of the girl's face, with a hint of a smile and closed eyes, shows her contentment. She softly repeats that she was happy enough just being able to talk to Arisu, reinforcing the simple joy their connection brought her. Back in the cafeteria, Arisu, with a wide smile, waves at his blonde friend, apologizing. "Sorry I took so long. Lunch is almost over, Arisu." His friend, now named Arisu, smiles back, indicating his familiarity with the first Arisu's peculiar habits. The first Arisu confidently sits down, announcing with a pleased look, "Naturally, as a Yamabuki, I'm very adept at speed eating." His friend, the blonde Arisu, sweat drops, observing his exaggerated self-praise. Arisu's eyes go wide as his phone emits another ring-a-tang sound. He clutches his chest, recalling his earlier thought, "I want to talk to you one more time. There is something I need to tell you," reinforcing the significance of the phone call. Arisu looks back over his shoulder, a hint of annoyance on his face, as he picks up his ringing phone. He addresses his mother, saying, "Geez, Mom, I get it, already. You got a perm," showing his exasperation at her persistent updates. Arisu's eyes are wide and serious, almost piercing, as he finishes his thought. He realizes, when I said I love you, the screen of his phone displaying the Apollo broadcasting app is prominently shown. Arisu's inner voice concludes, "Every word was meant for you and you alone." This powerful revelation solidifies his deep and singular affection for Apollo, transcending the simple context of a radio show. A title card appears, stark and bold, declaring Chapter 1, Restart. This signifies a new beginning for Arisu's story, marked by his renewed determination and clearer understanding of his feelings. Shinobu, the black and white-haired girl, smiles brightly, announcing, "All right, let's have ourselves a little party," to welcome Arisu Yamabuki-kun into our club, enthusiastically initiating the celebration for his new membership. Iko, the girl in the cat ear hoodie, gives a peace sign, looking proud. She declares, "I did all the decorating." She then playfully demands, "Go ahead and praise me all you want," showing her desire for recognition for her efforts. Rika, the girl with braided reddish-brown hair, munches on snacks with a contented expression, making crunch sounds. She comments, "These snacks are so good," and then unapologetically states, "Sorry, but I'm going to eat the whole pack," indulging in her treat. Nini, the girl with pigtails, smiles mischievously and tells Arisu, "Okay, you're today's VIP." She then invites him, "You have anything to say as the first boy to join our broadcasting club," putting him on the spot for a speech. Arisu, now comically dressed with fake wings, a fake mustache, and glasses, looking like a caricature of a VIP president, prepares to give his speech. Nin's voice, off-panel, prompts him, "Do tell us how you're feeling right now," setting the stage for his performance. The girls sit at a table adorned with decorations and snacks. Nani's still munching. Arisu, still in his ridiculous outfit, abruptly asks them, "Can I have a word with you all?" Rika, looking concerned, asks, "Oh, are you actually mad?" Sensing a shift in his demeanor, Arisu, with his fake mustache and wings, puffs out his cheeks, letting out a "fwee" sound. He declares, "This cordial welcome truly warms my heart." The other girls, Nine, Shinobu, and Rika, giggle and crunch on their snacks, enjoying his performance, unaware of his true intentions. The flashback shows young Arisu and Apollo lying on their backs, facing opposite directions. Arisu smiles, saying, "I love you too. Good night," and Apollo responds with a simple "good night," ending their conversation with a shared sentiment. Arisu, now a high school student, stands thoughtfully in the broadcasting room. He reflects that he's been searching for the radio host called Apollo for so long. He then reveals that during one of their midnight talks, he got carried away and confessed his love to her. And to make sure his dark secret never comes to light, he joined the broadcasting club that Apollo currently belongs to. A close-up of Arisu's determined eye shows his unwavering focus. He declares, "I've finally located the black mark on my history." He then adds, "Now I just need to take my time and identify her," affirming his resolute commitment to his objective. Arisu is diligently scrubbing a spot on the floor. Nani, the girl with pigtails, looks down at him imperiously and barks, "Hey, gopher boy! Clean this spot once you're done over there." Her tone clearly establishes a subservient role in the club. Arisu, now wearing a face mask and wielding a broom, angrily protests, "Hey, why am I an errand boy?" Nina, arms outstretched, retorts, "I mean, what else can you do? It's not like you can do our job," dismissing his capabilities. Arisu, looking frustrated, retorts to Nine, "How would you know until I try it out? I'll have you know that I'm brimming with potential." Nani, holding out a script, challenges him. "Okay, read the script then," giving him an unexpected opportunity to prove himself. Arisu, holding the script, confidently announces, "Here is the new news." Nene, however, looks away with a slight smile and remarks, "Yeah, you sound like Garbo. U2661. She then dismisses him, saying, "Our voices are our selling point, so you're out," crushing his hopes and highlighting her critical judgment. Arisu, with an enraged expression, shouts at Nini, "Hey, Garbo, you're insulting me, aren't you?" Nene, however, simply smiles sweetly, responding, "You sure don't sound like you're letting it go." Arisu, still fuming, then concedes, "But you know what? I'm the big-hearted man, so I'll let this slide." Maintaining his facade of perfection, Nene sits casually on a desk, legs crossed, and explains to Arisu that their club advisor is against having a boy join them. She informs him that it was no good, and he's stuck with chores for now, reminding him of his current unfortunate status and confirming his original exclusion. Iko, the girl in the cat ear hoodie, looks at Arisu and asks, "Do you hate doing chores, Bucky?" Arisu, looking confused, asks, "Bucky? The heck is that?" Iko then points out, "You want to do broadcast with us that badly, huh?" Hinting at his deeper motivation. A close-up of Arisu's eyes shows him in deep thought, represented by ellipses. He ponders Iko's words, realizing the implications for his secret mission, which momentarily distracts him from his current chores. Arisu pushes a chair away with a creak and thinks to himself, "That's right. I don't care all that much about doing broadcasts. I mustn't lose sight of my objective." There we go. He refocuses on his true goal, finding Apollo, not impressing the girls with his voice. Arisu sits thoughtfully, his hand resting on his chin. He reminds himself that his objective is to look for Apollo, the owner of that voice from 3 years ago. He is certain that one of the broadcasting club members has to be her, maintaining his firm belief despite the previous confusion. Phone screen shows the Apollo broadcasting app. Arisu recalls that last weekend at noon, Apollo started a surprise broadcast after 3 whole years, a crucial development in his search. The phone screen displays "Noon Announcement" is the title. Arisu explains that it was the announcements at their school, providing a direct link to his current situation and narrowing down the possibilities. Arisu, with a thoughtful expression, places his hand on his chin. He muses that this is a message from Apollo, and yet she still won't reveal who she is. He wonders if that means she's toying with him, adding a layer of suspicion and frustration to his quest. Arisu's face is filled with frustration and panting as he stares at the 4 girls who are now depicted with mocking, shadowy smiles and glowing eyes. He angrily questions, "Does she just want to watch me flounder around?" Feeling like Apollo is playing a game with him, which intensifies his determination. Arisu, with beads of sweat dripping from his face, looks intensely determined. He declares, "I must find her as soon as possible and retrieve her audio archive." He then adds, "Perfection is our creed. I can't let my mistake ruin the Yamabuki name," emphasizing the high stakes of his quest as his shoes clatter on the floor. Arisu throws his hands up in a dramatic pose, shouting, "All right, bring it on!" He then affirms, "Chores or not, I'll give it my all," demonstrating his renewed dedication and willingness to overcome any obstacles in his pursuit of Apollo. Shinobu, the black and white-haired girl, laughs heartily, stating, "Ah ha ha ha, they're all free spirits, you see." She points out that it's empty, and they're gone, indicating Arisu's friends have already left, leaving him alone with the girls. She adds that the after-school announcements will begin soon, signaling her focus. Shinobu smiles warmly at Arisu, asking, "Would you like to observe me, Mr. Gopher?" She notes that he's already had a chance to observe her, so it's convenient. Arisu, looking down, replies, "I'd be delighted," accepting her offer. This hints at his new strategy, observing them to find Apollo rather than confronting them directly. The panel provides a detailed character profile of Shinobu Uzuki. It highlights her as the aspiring announcer and vice president of the student council, known for being a model student who is admired by both boys and girls. Her natural cuteness makes her popular, and she's described as beautiful and cheerful. Yet Arisu observes that her smile reveals the soul of a manipulative woman who wins over men through charming words. Shinobu leans in with a confident smile, her black and white hair framing her face. Her expression is one of calm assurance, hinting at her composure and leadership qualities. Shinobu looks at Arisu, who is a bit flustered, and asks him, "What is it? Can you help me get everything set up?" U-2665's. Her request, framed with a heart, has a subtle manipulative charm, drawing Arisu into her tasks. Arisu, now carrying a stack of boxes, proudly declares, "Bawahahaha, this is nothing." Shinobu claps her hands, proclaiming, "Wow! What a strong man you are," her praise subtly encouraging him to continue his efforts, a hint of calculated charm. Arisu, carrying a tall stack of boxes, bumps into a desk, causing some papers to fly. He looks surprised by the minor mishap, a small crack in his facade of effortless strength demonstrating his human clumsiness. A notebook displays Shinobu's meticulously prepared script for the after-school announcements, with circled sections and notes for intonation. The script details construction work, a music room being off-limits, cafeteria floor repair, and meetings for various club leaders, revealing her diligent preparation. Arisu, still carrying the stack of boxes, asks Shinobu, "What is this?" Shinobu, holding another notebook, replies, "The script I'll read today," confirming her meticulous preparation for the broadcast. Shinobu explains her process, stating, "I tend to fumble my words, so I mark any spot where I might mess up. I also note down the intonation and anything else I need to pay attention to," showcasing her dedication and meticulous approach to broadcasting. Arisu looks genuinely impressed, a slight blush on his cheeks. He praises her, saying, "Ah, amazing. That's some serious dedication. I'm not surprised you're the vice president of the student council," acknowledging her hard work and leadership. Shinobu looks at Arisu with wide, innocent eyes, a slight blush on her cheeks. Her expression is one of flattered surprise, seemingly touched by his sincere compliment. Shinobu, now looking a bit flustered, stands next to Arisu, who has his hands on his hips. She asks him to say his compliment again, but louder this time, indicating her enjoyment of his praise and a slight playful demand. Shinobu repeats her request, asking Arisu to say it again, even louder. Arisu looks completely bewildered, with a large question mark above his head, unsure why she's asking for a repeat performance of his compliment. Shinobu, looking pleased, winks at Arisu and tells him, "Go right ahead, say that again," but louder this time. Arisu, still confused, shouts, "Why?" bewildered by her unusual request, which demonstrates her playful manipulation. Shinobu looks out the window, a thoughtful expression on her face, cherry blossoms floating outside. She admits, despite what Nana-chan said earlier, "I actually like your voice quite a bit, Yamabuki-kun," a surprising compliment that catches Arisu off guard. Shinobu, looking at Arisu, tells him, "You should do a radio show too, Arisu-kun." Arisu-kun, Arisu, with wide, shocked eyes, exclaims, "Oh, is that what you think? No way! I don't have a nice voice like you do." He's taken aback by her unexpected praise, and Nane's voice, as an imagined thought bubble, still calls him Garbo, reinforcing his perceived lack of vocal talent. A close-up of Arisu's surprised eyes shows his shock, framed by concentric circles. He hears Shinobu's voice repeating, "I actually like your voice quite a bit, Arisu-kun," emphasizing the profound impact of her compliment on him. Shinobu, with a subtle smirk, leans down towards Arisu, who is still looking surprised. She playfully asks him, "Hey, Uzuki, I have a question for you," indicating her continued teasing and manipulation as Arisu prepares for another task. Arisu, with a perplexed expression, squishes his lips together with his finger, wondering, "Are you actually?" His pause indicates his uncertainty about Shinobu's true nature, finding her behavior confusing and intriguing. Shinobu, with her finger on her lips, quiets Arisu as he tries to speak, saying, "Be quiet now." He lets out a muffled "Mr. Th" as she continues, emphasizing that the broadcast is about to begin, establishing her authority in the moment. Shinobu, with a finger to her lips, looks directly at the viewer and declares, "The broadcast is about to begin." Her confident and charming demeanor, surrounded by floating cherry blossoms, sets a serene and professional tone for the announcement. The school building is bathed in the gentle glow of cherry blossoms, creating a peaceful and picturesque scene. A text bubble announces, "These are your after-school announcements," setting the stage for Shinobu's broadcast. More cherry blossoms drift across the school grounds. The announcement continues, stating that due to construction work, the music room will be off-limits today, conveying practical information in a serene setting. Shinobu closes her eyes, her face serene, as she delivers the announcements, her voice flowing smoothly. Arisu stands behind her, arms crossed, observing her carefully, intently listening to her voice for any clues. A close-up of Arisu's thoughtful eyes, surrounded by floating cherry blossoms, shows his deep contemplation. He recalls a sentence he once read in a book. A voice soft and low, clear as a silver bell, and admits it has stuck with him ever since. Arisu, still deep in thought, acknowledges that the phrase "a voice soft and low, clear as a silver bell" perfectly describes Uzuki's voice. He confirms that this is the impression he gets from listening to her broadcast, making her a prime candidate for Apollo. Arisu's inner thoughts are shown, surrounded by cherry blossoms. He reflects that memories of sound are the most fleeting of the five senses. He admits that he heard Apollo's voice many times in the past, but he can't deny his memories of it are all fuzzy now, making his task of identification even harder. He wonders, still, have my memories truly become that unreliable? Arisu continues his internal monologue, surrounded by cherry blossoms, stating that the one thing he can say for certain about Shinobu's voice is what happens next, building anticipation for his observation. Shinobu, looking a bit flustered, delivers the announcements, tripping over words as she mentions the baseball team making their debut at the district tournament, and leaders of the wind ensemble and cheerleading team. Arisu stands behind her, arms crossed, a slight smirk on his face, observing that she trips over her words way too damn much, a fatal flaw he'd noticed. Shinobu looks angrily at Arisu, who is looking back at her with a surprised expression. She scolds him, "Hey, Yamabuki-kun! Shh! The mic will pick up your voice." She then points out, "You fumbled at all the spots you marked," indicating his internal notes are now exposed. The 2C sign for the classroom is shown, a silent backdrop to the students' activities. This sets the location clearly for the ongoing story. Arisu's blonde friend with a shocked expression demands, "How stupid can you be, Yamabuki?" He then sarcastically asks, "She's great because she messes up her lines?" That's exactly what makes Uzuki-san great, mocking Arisu's observation. Arisu's blonde friend continues, explaining that everyone likes to see a model student like her mess up, stating, "It's all about the contrast." Other students in the background chatter and nod in agreement, creating a collective approval that contrasts with Arisu's perfectionist views. Arisu's blonde friend looks at him, while a floating Shinobu with a "hey meow" speech bubble says, "She was so cute when she talked to me earlier." Arisu's friend then whispers that the girls are cursing him behind his back, as his other male friends awkwardly look away, leaving Arisu isolated in his quest. Arisu's blonde friend leans in conspiratorially and asks him, "So what? Are you interested in her?" Arisu, however, looks away dismissively and replies, "No, it's just that I joined the broadcasting club," deflecting the personal question and maintaining his cover. Arisu's blonde friend and other male students are shocked, exclaiming, "What? Lash! I thought it was impossible for a boy to join the broadcasting club. How did you pull that off, Yamabuki?" Their collective surprise highlights the unprecedented nature of Arisu's feat. Arisu, with a confident smirk, quotes Muhammad Ali, stating, "Impossible is just a big word thrown around by small men who find it easier to live in the world they've been given than to explore the power they have to change it." His blonde friend remarks that Ali probably never imagined he'd be quoted in a situation like this, highlighting Arisu's dramatic and slightly misplaced use of the quote. Arisu's blonde friend watches him leave and says he's amazed Arisu hasn't gotten sick of doing that every day. Arisu, with a slight smile, tells him that now he'll use the bathroom and take a walk around the school while he's at it, reiterating his daily routine. Arisu stands by a window, observing his surroundings. He reflects that Shinobu's broadcast was shoddier than he expected, so he'll put his observation of her on hold for now. He decides he'd like to observe the other broadcasting club members in person, shifting his focus to the next potential Apollo. Arisu imagines himself on a Spartan helmet, a fierce warrior amidst a battlefield. He explains that normally the girls are accompanied by their fangirls, who are practically Spartan in their dedication. But now, since he's in the broadcasting club, he can approach them with impunity, feeling emboldened in his new role. A close-up on Arisu's eye shows him intently searching, his face contorted in a determined grimace as he wonders, now where could they be? Making soft, squeaking sounds as he searches, Arisu spots a group of girls in the hallway, chatting amongst themselves. One girl asks Nina if she bought the new Lilycos volume, to which Nina proudly replies, "Of course, I'm a longtime fan after all." Another girl asks Nadi why she doesn't cosplay again, indicating Nini's diverse talents. Arisu stands reading a book, his face a mixture of contemplation and curiosity. He flips a page, absorbing the information, perhaps looking for clues about Nine's voice acting abilities. The panel introduces Nini Himakawa, the aspiring voice actress, and highlights that she's also an avid cosplayer. This new information connects to the girls' conversation about her and to Arisu's quest to identify Apollo. Nani Himakawa is shown in a demonic cosplay, complete with horns and fangs, striking a pose. The text explains that she's a lively girl and the center of attention in her class, known for her so-called anime voice, and the segment of the announcements where she does the voices of manga and anime characters is quite popular. Arisu looks intrigued by the information about Nene and simply says, "Oh." His expression suggests he's filing away this new data about her, carefully considering if her anime voice could be Apollo's. Nin, in her demonic cosplay, feigns exaggerated fear, exclaiming, "Oh no! I'm so scared." Arisu, seeing the act, is completely bewildered, and other male students in the background whisper, "That guy's been ogling me," as Arisu walks past. Arisu looks genuinely surprised, a bead of sweat on his forehead. He says, "Huh? No, I'm not," trying to deny the accusation of ogling Nini, but his words are lost in the commotion. A group of angry male students surround Arisu, shouting, "Ah, damn! Filthy horn dog, you animal! Don't act like a dog in heat." One fiercely warns, "Hold your horses. I'm a member of the broadcasting club now." Another exclaims, "This is why I was against our schools merging." As the mob's fury builds, Nene Himakawa, still in her demon costume, sticks out her tongue and winks playfully, a blash sound effect accompanying her cheeky expression. She clearly enjoys provoking Arisu and watching the drama unfold, showcasing her mischievous personality. Arisu looks intently at Nene, a sly, knowing smirk on his face as he chuckles. Heh 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 heh. He realizes, looks, this pampered princess really has it in for me, understanding her combative nature. A group of girls surrounds Nene, chatting excitedly. One asks, "Nene-chan, can you voice this Lily scene?" Nene replies, "Sure, I'll just say a few lines though," agreeing to showcase her talent. Nene clears her throat with an ahem sound, preparing to voice the scene. Her eyes are closed in concentration, ready to transform her voice for the performance. Nin, smiling brightly and holding the manga Lalaikos, voices a scene with enthusiasm. She declares, "I can finally hear your voice again. I've been waiting for so long," performing with theatrical flair. Arisu's eyes are wide with surprise and a blush spreads across his cheeks. He exclaims, "Wow, you sound just like her. I wish they'd animate this scene already." He then adds, "You've gotten even better, Nini-chan," complimenting her performance with genuine admiration. The angry mob of students confronts Arisu, shouting, "Hey, you don't get to listen to this. Get lost, boy." Arisu, looking defeated, questions, "Why are you all so hostile to me?" The mob retorts, "Go listen to the vice principal gargle or something," highlighting their unreasonable animosity towards him. A close-up of Arisu's eyes shows him looking intently at the manga title. He murmurs, "Lily Ko's," the title resonating with him and bringing a new clue to light. Nin, with a thoughtful expression, reveals that Apollo loved that manga, and she also voiced a lot of scenes from it for Arisu. This connection further strengthens Nini's candidacy as Apollo, adding to Arisu's confusion. Arisu looks thoughtful, hand on his chin, as he muses that Nane wasn't this good before, but he thinks she used the same affectionate, cat-like voice. This observation highlights a consistent vocal trait, yet the improved skill adds uncertainty. Nani, still performing, makes various sounds like go, Gio, my father's G, while Arisu thinks that Nine Himakawa being Apollo is also plausible, adding yet another potential candidate to his list, intensifying his dilemma. A girl with glasses corrects Nini, who is asking how to pronounce certain kanji, explaining that Jode is the Japanese pronunciation of Yuli, an ancient Chinese battle formation, and means mitama, as in spirit. This shows Nini's lack of knowledge despite her voice acting talent. The girl with glasses, still correcting Nine, explains that Gekuren means God's holy wrath, not Zetsuren. She then adds that invoking God's horny wrath just sounds all kinds of wrong, highlighting Nine's embarrassing mispronunciation and lack of vocabulary. Arisu, with a sweat drop on his forehead, looks annoyed. He internally criticizes Nene, calling her an actual idiot, wondering, she's an actual idiot, huh? Papo-o? As in, a pigeon's tail? That's Mizuchi, as in solar plexus, demonstrating her lack of intellect and poor vocabulary choices. Arisu sits on the stairs, basking in the sun as part of his daily routine. He is contemplative, seeking a moment of peace amidst the chaos of his mission, and observes his surroundings. Arisu sits on the floor, looking troubled. He sighs, phew, and reflects that he just can't observe the girls with all those noisy girls around. He then comments that Nani Himakawa is pretty bad too, questioning how she can go pro like that, revealing his critical assessment of her skills. Arisu, now sitting alone on a distant step, thinks to himself, "Oh well, that's not my problem." He deduces that the reason his memories are so hazy is probably because he listened to Apollo's voice on his phone, realizing a critical flaw in his methodology. The panel shows a digital pattern symbolizing the hybrid encoding method used for voices. The text explains that sending one's natural voice as is takes up a lot of data, so instead, the voice is digitized, and a voice pattern closest to the original voice is sent. In other words, the voice that comes out of a smartphone is a different kind of sound that merely resembles the original voice, a crucial technical detail explaining his fuzzy memories. Arisu, with a determined glint in his eye, realizes so I can't rely on their voices to narrow down which one is Apollo. He concludes that in which case, I'll have to figure it out by their mannerisms instead, shifting his observation strategy entirely. Iko, the girl in the cat ear hoodie, looks at Arisu, who is intently staring at her and asks, "Do you want to observe me?" I have to observe them as closely as possible, prompting his direct question as he needs to find Apollo. Arisu dramatically trips and falls down the stairs with a loud crash and wham sound, his body flailing. The unexpected stumble sends him tumbling in a comically yet painful manner, disrupting his plan to observe Iko discreetly. Arisu, looking shocked and distraught, holds up his hand to his head, exclaiming, "What the heck? Oh no!" The impact has squashed the Marimo Yokin in my back pocket. His concern for his snack highlights his quirky priorities even amidst disaster. Iko, the girl in the cat ear hoodie, looking down with closed eyes, her hood slightly flapping, simply murmurs, "Sorry," offering a quiet apology for Arisu's accidental fall. Without much outward emotion, the panel presents a detailed character profile of Iko Carino, describing her as the aspiring VTuber and the Broadcasting Club's tech specialist. She is popular among hardcore otaku, known for her girl of few words persona and emotionless yet cute expressions. Arisu notes that her colored contacts are non-prescription, and while she is giving rise to a new trend called Eurozero Girls in his class, she views this place as reserved for a broadcast, indicating her solitary nature, and he questions her true motivation. Arisu stands observing Iko, who is still seated. He questions, if it's a school announcement, why can't you just do it in the club room? He's puzzled by her choice of location, which indicates his lack of understanding of her broadcasting method. Iko, with a tablet held up, reveals her VTuber avatar on the screen. She explains, "It's 'cause I'm doing my personal broadcast," clarifying her reason for not using the club room. Her confident gaze and professional setup show her dedication to her VTuber persona. Arisu, looking surprised, remarks, "Oh, I see. You can do it with just a tablet these days, huh? You sure know your stuff." He acknowledges the modern technology, showing his growing understanding of VTubing. Arisu, now standing a bit further away, asks Iko, "Can I observe you?" Iko looks up at him with wide, innocent eyes and simply replies, "Feel free," granting him permission without hesitation, showing her casual attitude. Arisu stands behind Iko, observing intently, making sounds as he takes notes. The image of a cat appears below, mirroring his focused and somewhat analytical observation, emphasizing his methodical approach. A close-up of Iko's hand shows her tapping rapidly on her tablet with multiple tap sound effects. This visual demonstrates her active engagement with her broadcast, controlling her avatar and interacting with her audience. Iko's eyes are closed, and she lets out a soft huff, as if she's tired or just finished a demanding task. Her expression conveys a sense of quiet satisfaction after her broadcast, despite the minimal physical effort. Iko smiles sweetly, her VTuber avatar Hellliko on the screen, and announces, "Hellliko, it's me, Icon Sumeragi. Sorry I'm late." Her chipper tone and cute persona engage her audience. Arisu's eyes are wide open in surprise, his face showing a mix of shock and intrigue. Iko's virtual persona and cheerful voice have clearly captivated him, making him eager to learn more about her. Arisu and Iko walk down the hallway. Arisu observes, "So she can actually speak clearly. That's a shock. It's still kind of quiet, though." He's surprised by her articulate speaking outside of her VTuber persona, contrasting it with her reserved nature. Arisu, surrounded by shimmering particles, muses that Apollo's hushed voice was also similar to this, describing it as a crisp, whisper-like voice. This reinforces Iko's potential as Apollo, aligning her vocal qualities with his fading memory. Arisu intently stares at Iko from behind, causing a question mark to appear above her head as she senses his gaze. His direct observation, coupled with Iko's subtle reaction, builds the tension of his investigation. The panel shows 4 sequential shots of Iko's VTuber broadcast screen. Each shot displays her avatar, Hellliko, and a chat window rapidly filling with comments and super chat messages like, "You're as cute as ever," and "Thanks for the super chat, Ro Rice San," from various users. This depicts the lively and interactive nature of her VTuber stream and her popularity. Iko smiles, with Arisu looking surprised behind her, as chat comments continue to flood in. She thanks her viewers, and Arisu notes that all she's doing is replying, but the comments just keep flooding in. He observes that her avatar's expression hasn't even changed once, highlighting the simplicity yet effectiveness of her VTubing style. A close-up of Arisu's profile shows him looking at Iko with a critical gaze. He wonders, do the viewers enjoy watching this? Are there people out there who consider this good content? Questioning the appeal of her seemingly simple broadcast. Arisu looks shocked as Iko suddenly announces, "Bye, Iko!" signaling the end of her broadcast with a beep sound. He exclaims, "It's over?" Surprised by the abrupt conclusion, as she casually packs up her tablet, Arisu with wide, shocked eyes confronts Iko, asking, "What was that?" "All you did was say hello to them." Iko, however, calmly explains that it's because their break only lasts 10 minutes, and she has after-school announcements after this, too, justifying her short broadcast time. A close-up of Arisu's intense eyes shows his frustration as he asks Iko, "Are you really okay with this? Don't you need to get better at talking?" He questions her relaxed approach to improving her skills, still viewing her through his perfectionist lens. Iko pulls down her cattier hoodie with a plomp sound, covering her face. Her action hints at a retreat into her quiet self, avoiding further scrutiny or confrontation from Arisu. Iko looks up from under her hoodie, her expression serene, and tells Arisu, "Well, all my viewers are happy, so that's good enough for me." Her words reflect her contentment with her current success regardless of Arisu's criticism. Arisu looks at Iko with a disapproving expression, his eye twitching slightly. He's clearly not satisfied with her complacent attitude as his perfectionist ideals clash with her more relaxed approach. Arisu turns to leave, saying, "I'll take my leave." Iko watches him go, her expression thoughtful, as he walks down the stairs, leaving her behind in the quiet hallway. Iko scratches her head with a scratch sound, looking confused. She wonders, was it something I said? Showing a hint of insecurity about Arisu's sudden departure despite her earlier confidence, Arisu walks down the hallway, the clack-clack of his shoes echoing. He is moving with purpose, his stride deliberate and rhythmic, reflecting his focused mindset. A close-up of Arisu's eye shows his determined expression, accompanied by more clack-clack-clack sounds. He's deep in thought, processing his observations and refining his strategy. Arisu observes other students meandering around the hallway. He internally laments that the girls don't take their club seriously at all. Instead of practicing in the club room, they're just meandering around doing whatever. He adds that he hasn't even seen the singer girl, Rika, yet reinforcing his frustration with their lack of dedication. A close-up of Arisu's ear highlights his attentive listening. He is constantly alert to his surroundings, soaking in every sound, searching for any clues related to Apollo despite his frustration with the club's activities. Arisu walks away looking slightly annoyed. He reminds himself, what am I getting so upset over this for? My goal is simply to identify Apollo, isn't it? Refocusing on his primary objective and dismissing his frustration. A minimalist panel with an ornate border and a single central speech bubble emphasizes Arisu's core desire. I want to get a voice-related job. This foundational ambition drives his entire quest. In a flashback to his room, young Arisu sits on his bed, listing out his dream jobs. He mentions voice actors and announcers, and adds that becoming a singer isn't a bad choice either, believing that VTubing will grow even bigger in the future too, showcasing his diverse interests. Young Arisu smiles, his eyes closed in determination. He promises, in that case, I'll learn all I can and obtain perfect knowledge about voice work, so that I can help you out with your job, demonstrating his dedication to his future career and to helping Apollo. A close-up of Apollo's ear, with headphones on, shows her smiling softly. She suggests, let's make a promise then. I'll become a pro, even if it kills me. Cementing their shared ambition and vow. A minimalistic panel displays a single large speech bubble, emphasizing the core of their shared dream, so let's join the pro world together. This powerful statement represents the mutual ambition between Arisu and Apollo. Arisu, now in the present, stands in a hallway, his back to the viewer, looking disappointed. He muses, I guess I'm just feeling let down. To think that Apollo is among those girls. Realizing the disparity between his idealized image and their reality, Arisu's face is shadowed, reflecting his somber mood. He wonders, was this how little your dream meant to you? Am I the only one who took our promise seriously, feeling betrayed by the perceived lack of ambition from the girls in the club, deepening his sense of disappointment? Arisu, with a determined expression, dramatically declares, if that's the case. He then swiftly dashes off, indicating a sudden and decisive change in his approach to his quest. Now fueled by a sense of betrayal. Arisu's two male classmates look on, surprised by his sudden rush. Their expressions indicate confusion, wondering what prompted his abrupt departure from the hallway. Arisu's blonde friend calls out, "Hey, Yamabuki, let's go turn in our homework." Arisu, without looking back, shouts, "I have urgent booziness, I'm afraid. Why would I care about this?" Dismissing their concerns and maintaining his focus on his urgent mission. Arisu's blonde friend looks at him with a bewildered expression. Arisu then adds, "I know you'll be desolate without me, but I'm sorry. Let me do a video call with you later to make it up to you." Showcasing his dramatic yet self-centered personality, even in apology. A school speaker on the wall emits a ding-dong sound, indicating another announcement is about to begin. This sound signals a new opportunity for Arisu to observe the girls, linking back to his initial strategy. Shinobu, the black and white haired girl, smiles confidently as she begins the broadcast. She announces, "Hello, this is the Broadcasting Club. This is your customary Thursday Q&A, where we'll be reading messages from our listeners." Setting a cheerful and interactive tone, the Broadcasting Club room is shown with the girls at their stations. Shinobu reads a question from Freshwater Fishy, asking, "Which one of you is the tallest?" She promptly replies, "No, we don't. Next," indicating she misread the question. As Rika looks down with a slight frown, aware of Shinobu's mistake, Shinobu continues, addressing a question from deceased Kappa about height. Rika interjects, looking exasperated, and clarifies, "That would probably be Nene-Jen. She's 5'3" after all." Shinobu then moves on, saying next, maintaining her broadcast flow despite the correction. Shinobu looks sternly at Rika, her expression serious. She tells Rika, "Rika, you're slacking off. That's not a good look," admonishing her for a lack of focus during the broadcast. Rika looks away, a slight frown on her face. She replies, "Well, I just can't find the motivation for this," admitting her disinterest and reinforcing her earlier statement about lacking drive. Rika's foot taps on the floor with a thunk, and she wonders aloud, "I wonder what Yamabuki-kun thinks. About us, I mean." Her curiosity about Arisu's opinion reveals a hidden desire for his approval. Shinobu, with a wide, confident smile, boasts about her activities, saying, "Yeah, we go to the movies together a lot. We also went to an aquarium recently," sharing lighthearted personal details with the listeners. Arisu stands in front of the broadcasting room, kicking a door with a loud bam sound. He angrily declares, "I don't even need a pseudonym." The next question is from someone with the pseudonym. Making a dramatic entrance and interrupting the broadcast, Arisu stands proudly in the broadcasting room, his chest puffed out, proclaiming, "I'm Arisu Yamabuki." He then directly confronts the four girls, asking, "Are you four really happy with how things stand right now?" challenging their complacent attitudes. Shinobu and Nain were completely shocked by Arisu's sudden intrusion, their mouths agape, uttering a synchronized, "Whoa!" The unexpected interruption leaves them stunned and momentarily speechless. Arisu looks directly at the viewer, his expression intense and determined as he repeats, "Whoa." This rhetorical question underscores the magnitude of his dramatic entrance and the challenge he's posing to the girls. The classroom is filled with excited chatter as students react to the interrupted broadcast. They speculate, did someone barge in on them, and technical issues, wondering about the cause of the disruption, highlighting the unexpected turn of events. Shinobu and Nene whisper loudly at Arisu, with Shinobu saying, "Not now, Yamabuki-kun, we're doing a broadcast." Nene more aggressively shouts, "You idiot! Get out of here." They are both flustered by his intrusion during their live show. A close-up of Arisu's determined eye shows his unwavering resolve. He reflects that at first, he was going to ignore the current state the club is in, because, after all, their dreams bear little relevance to him. This reveals his initial indifference and selfish motivation. The school speaker, a symbol of the broadcast, is shown. Arisu's internal monologue continues, asserting, "However, in my veins runs the blood of the Yamabuki. That's why I won't accept anything less than perfection," revealing his underlying commitment to excellence, which now extends to the club. Arisu quickly sprays throat spray into his mouth, a fuss sound accompanying the action. Shinobu looks at him with wide, shocked eyes, asking, completely bewildered by his sudden and dramatic preparation. Arisu, with an intense and determined expression, looks directly at the listener, shouting, "My fellow students who are listening to this broadcast, don't you think the current broadcasting club is in a terrible state?" He directly challenges the status quo of the club, demanding attention. Arisu dramatically points towards the window, revealing the school buildings in the background. He passionately declares that at this public school in the sticks, these girls are idolized despite a complete lack of effort on their part. He warns that if they keep living their lives as coddled school idols, their dreams will never come true, accusing them of complacency. Students in the cafeteria chatter in confusion, listening to Arisu's broadcast. He then declares, "But do not despair," preparing to offer a solution to the problem he just laid out, aiming to rally support and effect change. A series of shimmering circles overlay the panel, symbolizing a profound realization. Arisa's inner voice declares that if Apollo has forgotten about their vow, then he'll just have to make her remember, reaffirming his deep personal commitment to their shared dream. Arisu looks down thoughtfully, his profile showing determination. He stands ready to face the challenge, his gaze unwavering as he prepares to act on his renewed purpose. The shimmering circles return, and Arisu's inner voice continues, explaining that since he doesn't know who Apollo is, he'll just have to make all their dreams come true. This grandiose statement reveals his commitment to help all the girls, as a way to fulfill his promise to Apollo even if he doesn't know which one she is. Arisu looks directly at the viewer, his expression resolute. He declares, since I, a Yamabuki, am now a member of this club, I can promise it must be just as perfect as I am, asserting his authority and setting a high standard for the entire club. Arisu, with a determined expression, faces all 4 girls, who look at him with a mix of shock and confusion. He declares that he will guide all the members of the broadcasting club down the right path and turn them into true professionals. He envisions them becoming a top voice actress, an announcer for flagship stations, a prestigious singer, and the most watched VTuber ever, outlining his ambitious vision for their future success and making an implicit promise to Apollo, whoever she may be. Arisu looks intensely focused, his eyes gleaming with resolve. He proclaims to the girls, I've come to fulfill our promise. Now it's up to you to give me an answer, demanding their commitment to his vision. The school speaker buzzes loudly with a bzzz sound, interrupting Arisu's declaration. A calm, automated voice announces, this has been a message from Arisu Yamabuki. Thank you for listening. The broadcast suddenly ends, cutting off Arisu's speech dramatically. In the classroom, students chatter excitedly, exclaiming, what the hell was that? And he went crazy again. They question, what was that idiot even rambling about? Showing their complete confusion and dismissal of Arisu's impassioned speech. A close-up of Arisu's eyes shows him looking surprised and slightly embarrassed, with a faint gasp sound. The unexpected end to his broadcast has clearly caught him off guard, deflating his dramatic moment. Nene, the girl with pigtails, glares at Arisu, who looks genuinely sorry. She shouts, oh shoot! Sorry for interrupting your broadcast, but her body language suggests contained fury, emphasizing the severity of his actions. Nene furiously kicks Arisu out of the broadcasting room, sending him flying through the air with a loud thud. She yells, get your dumb ass out of here, asserting her dominance and punishing him for his outrageous behavior. Nene slams the broadcasting room door shut, a slam sound echoing. Her shadowy form is menacing as she declares, you're fired, definitively ending Arisu's brief membership in the club. Shinobu, with a worried expression, frets, we're so going to get an earful from the teacher. Iko, the girl in the cat ear hoodie, calmly says, relax. Nene, however, looks enraged and shouts, seriously, what the hell is wrong with him? He needs to get over himself, expressing her continued frustration with Arisu. The teacher, a bald man with glasses, bursts into the broadcasting room demanding, hey, just what was that broadcast? He is clearly angry and bewildered by the chaotic events that just unfolded, as he furiously questions the girls. The girls, looking terrified, quickly apologize. We, so sorry! They then blame Arisu, shouting, it was all that Gopher's fault, sensei! The teacher, however, continues to demand, what were you all thinking? Refusing to let them off the hook. The 4 girls, Rika, Shinobu, Iko, and Nene, stand with downcast expressions, being scolded by the teacher who is just out of frame. Their shoulders are slumped, reflecting their shame and the consequences of the interrupted broadcast. The 4 girls continue to be chastised by the teacher, their expressions varying from Rika's subtle annoyance, Shinobu's tearful regret, Iko's quiet sadness, and Nene's defiant pout. They face the consequences of the chaotic broadcast, united in their misery. A close-up of the girls' pleated skirts and black stockings accentuates their uniforms, highlighting their collective identity as members of the broadcasting club. Even in their moment of disciplinary action, a close-up of one of the girls' hands, likely Rika's, shows her clutching her smartphone. The screen displays the Apollo broadcasting app, now paused, hinting that the search for Apollo is far from over despite the current chaos and setbacks. A title card appears, stark and bold, declaring Chapter 2, a message from Arisu Yamabuki. This signifies a new phase in the story focusing on Arisu's impact and the ongoing mystery of Apollo's identity. A vast, open view captures the early morning sky with clouds scattered across a brightly lit horizon, overlooking a serene coastal road and a calm stretch of water. It's a peaceful scene, yet one that hints at the start of a busy day. The tranquility is immediately broken by the powerful rhythmic impact of feet hitting the ground as multiple individuals are seen running, kicking up small plumes of dirt with each forceful stride, each step punctuated by a determined thud echoing in the air. A young man, Yamabuki, with his black hair and dark sunglasses, screams at the top of his lungs, his mouth wide open in an exaggerated expression. He proclaims that a healthy voice starts with a healthy body, and passionately declares that this early morning run should allow your voices to reach even greater heights. Behind him, 3 girls struggle with the rigorous pace. Rika, her face showing pure exhaustion, can only manage a silent ellipsis. Shinobu, though panting heavily, manages a small smile, remarking that the morning sea breeze is pretty nice though. Nini, however, is visibly furious and completely out of breath, exclaiming that she's dying and that 6 a.m. is still way too early, you idiot. The group continues their run along the beach under the text Chapter 3. Yamabuki, astonishingly, runs backward, much to everyone's confusion. He points out a seagull, asking, "Oh, that seagull is holding something in its mouth." Nani, still breathless, incredulously asks, "No way! Isn't that the earbud I lost yesterday?" Meanwhile, Shinobu questions, "How are you faster than us even though you were running backward?" "That's just freaky." Iko, trailing behind, simply states, "I want some ice cream." A close-up shot focuses on a foot pushing off the sandy ground, sending a burst of sand upwards, emphasizing the continuous, strenuous effort of the morning run with a thwomp sound effect. Finally, the run concludes as Shinobu, with sweat dripping from her face, announces, "Well done! That should be it for the warm-up." She's clearly winded, just like Rika and Iko, who are both hunched over, clutching their chests and panting heavily. Rika, still catching her breath, complains, "My heart's going a mile a minute." Nine, still radiating anger, shouts at Yamabuki, asking, "How are you not even fazed by any of this? You really piss me off." Yamabuki, however, remains completely composed, a slight smile on his face as he nonchalantly explains, "Oh, do you have an irregular pulse, perhaps? Being nervous or excited is the cause of a fast heart rate, you know." Nani, her face contorted in a frustrated expression, yells, "But never mind that. Why are you acting like our coach?" Yamabuki, unperturbed, stands among the other girls, who are recollecting his previous confident declarations that he would lead them down the right path and turn them into true professionals, whether they aspired to be the most watched VTuber ever, a top voice actress and announcer for flagships, or a trendy singer. Nani, still enraged, commands, "Take your damn sunglasses off." Yamabuki, looking puzzled, responds, who are you again?" before confidently asserting, "I am, as a matter of fact." He seems to be reveling in her frustration. With a smooth, almost theatrical swip motion, Yamabuki removes his sunglasses, revealing a cool, intense gaze beneath. He smirks, declaring, "You needn't worry. I'm very much a man of my word." Nini, utterly flustered by his stylish gesture, retorts, "Don't take them off in such a cool way." Standing slightly apart, Iko attempts to calm the agitated Naina-chan, saying, "Calm down, Naina-chan." However, Nine, still focused on Yamabuki, shouts, "First you want me to take them off, and now you don't?" Nani groans in frustration, while Shinobu, looking thoughtful, asks, "Didn't you come here with that in mind, Nani?" She continues, observing the ground, "It's true that we've been slacking off. We all talked about training up too, so this is perfect for us." Yamabuki, casually kicking at the ground, adds, "Going pro is no small goal, though." On the open beach, Yamabuki stands with Rika. She looks at him intently, asking, "Why are you so serious about this with us?" She pauses, a moment of uncertainty passing before she adds, "Are you really just that much of a perfectionist?" Rika Inohana, the aspiring singer, looks directly at Yamabuki, her expression a mix of hope and apprehension. She asks, "Can we really trust you?" Yamabuki, with a confident smirk, responds to Rika, saying, "Of course you can. There's no man more reliable than me." He then reflects, his expression momentarily serious. There's something different about her today. Still on the beach, Nene confronts Yamabuki, asking, "Care to back up your claim, Gopher Boy?" Yamabuki responds confidently, "Sure, but let's us have breakfast first." The interaction is both challenging and casual. Yamabuki, with a smile, suggests to Shinobu, "Let's go to a restaurant." Shinobu, however, looks apprehensive, fidgeting nervously as she replies, I am not sure if we should." Shinobu explains to a questioning Yamabuki, I want to stop by our club room first." Her cat-like mascot Bucky echoes her sentiments, stating, "Same." Yamabuki, looking puzzled, counters, "What? It's important to get some nutrients right after working out." Yamabuki stands dumbfounded on a pathway, arms outstretched, as the girls suddenly rush past him in a blur. He exclaims, "What are you all?" As they rapidly create distance, their actions marked by a series of swaff sound effects. Mini, leading the charge with a panicked expression, is shown running away frantically alongside Shinobu, who is laughing. Yamabuki shouts after them, "Why are you running away?" The girl's hasty retreat is emphasized by repeated deep sound effects. Nin's face is contorted in utter fury as she screams, "You dumbass!" A small, spiky character resembling a pufferfish with wide, shocked eyes and a gaping mouth appears next to her, looking equally horrified. Shinobu, identified as an aspiring announcer, laughs good-naturedly, saying, "Ah ha ha, sorry about this." Meanwhile, Nini, the aspiring voice actress, still looks irritated as she explains to Yamabuki, "We're really sweaty now, so we need to get changed. Have some common sense." Yamabuki's eyes have transformed into blank circles as he slowly processes this information, several spin sound effects indicating his confusion. He eventually responds, "I see. I understand now." From off-panel, Nine, still exasperated, yells, "Understand, my ass." Yamabuki, meanwhile, states with unwavering confidence, "Worry not. I'll pick a restaurant that doesn't have a dress code." The scene shifts to an establishing shot of a restaurant building with an awning displaying the name Lenny's, under a sky filled with scattered clouds, indicating a bright morning. Inside the restaurant, Shinobu, with a cheerful smile, rests her chin on her hands as she gleefully exclaims, "I am so hungry. What should I have, I wonder?" Iko Carino, the aspiring VTuber, looks distraught as she stares down at the menu, her eyes wide with disappointment. She shouts, "Ice cream? There's no ice cream section!" Rika, calm and composed, patiently instructs Iko, "You need to flip the menu over to find it." She takes a small spoonful of her food, munching delicately, with monk sound effects accompanying her action. Nini, her face a mask of frustration, looks down at her meal, exclaiming loudly, "Why is Rika's Doria the only thing that's arrived?" Amidst the lively jabber and chatter of the girls at the table, Yamabuki stands up, attempting to gain their attention. He begins to speak, holding out his hand. "Sorry to interrupt the festivities, but may I have a few moments of your time?" Nine, however, glares at him, muttering, "Hey, are you listening? Listen to me." Yamabuki, ignoring Nene's outburst, maintains a smug look, declaring, "I'd like you all to have a look at these." He then challenges Nene, "I am pretty sure I didn't say that. You pompous jackass. Who do you think you are, acting like our coach?" "That's what you said, isn't it, Himekawa?" Yamabuki dramatically throws down a massive stack of papers onto the table, causing several sheets to fly upwards, emphasizing the weight and quantity of the documents with loud flonk sound effects. Shinobu looks on with a wide-eyed, slightly bewildered expression as she asks, "What is this?" Yamabuki, surrounded by the now seated girls, explains, "These documents detail your issues as well as training programs to remedy them." He continues, "I've also included any reference materials that might be helpful." With a confident smile, he adds, "A single glance should be enough for you to grasp the depth and breadth of my knowledge." The girls intently examine the papers spread across the table. Shinobu, looking closely at the documents, expresses her surprise, saying, "You really did your research? Wow, this is so detailed." Nini, her eyes wide with shock and frustration, holds up a stack of papers, exclaiming, "Why do I have double the amount of paper?" Yamabuki, looking at her, calmly states, "It's because of all the kanji exercises you need to master your kanji first." Rika looks down at her own personalized training materials, and Yamabuki's words echo in her mind. He states, "I also gave you all some near-term goals to achieve before going pro." Rika's goal is revealed to be, "My goal is to audition for an agency." Shinobu looks thoughtfully at her papers, remarking, "Oh, the Announcer 101 course, huh?" Nin's eyes are wide with disbelief and horror as she reads her assigned task, shouting, "My goal is to pass the level 2 kanji aptitude test? The hell?" Yamabuki, seated at the table, turns his head toward Rika, who is carefully studying her documents. He asks her, "What about you, Rika?" The panel shows a close-up of Rika's tie, part of her school uniform, as she considers Yamabuki's question, her expression unreadable. Rika looks up, her eyes showing a hint of determination as she reveals her ambitious goal. "I need to sell 50 copies of my music Kintu at a street performance." This is a significant challenge for an aspiring artist. Yamabuki grins, his eyes narrowing in approval as he responds to Rika, "Yes. It's a good way to build up your confidence and experience, is it not?" He seems pleased with her objective. A sudden silence falls over the entire group, as everyone, including Yamabuki, notices the shift in atmosphere. Yamabuki, looking confused, asks, "What's the matter?" Rika's eyes are cast downwards, her lips pressed together. She is silent, a single ellipsis indicating her deep contemplation or reluctance to speak. Rika finally speaks, looking up at Yamabuki with a bright, almost challenging smile. She calls his name Yamabuki-kun, then asks, "Have you ever played an instrument before?" Yamabuki, looking surprised, replies, "Not really." He pauses, then adds, "Though I suppose if I think about it, I am fond of whistling after I take a bath." Nin, a chibi version of herself appearing beside him, interjects with a deadpan expression, "Now you are just reaching." Rika's smile turns almost condescending as she continues to challenge Yamabuki. She asks, "Do you know how much courage it takes to stand in front of a crowd and sing for them while also playing an instrument?" Yamabuki, unflustered, simply states, "I don't." He then adds, "But if you want to become a pro, you will need to go down this road anyway, want you?" Rika pushes further, her expression more serious now. She asks, "Surely there were times when you were so nervous your hands wouldn't stop shaking, right?" Yamabuki, however, remains confident, declaring, "Nope, I am a Yamabuki. Nervousness is not a concept to me." Suddenly, a hand roughly grabs Yamabuki's face, squeezing his cheeks together. His face contorts in shock and pain from the sudden smack, with lines radiating from the impact. Rika has grabbed Yamabuki's face, squeezing his cheeks and causing his mouth to form a comical As she glares at him, she directly challenges his earlier statement, asking, "You've never been nervous in your life?" Rika leans in close to Yamabuki, her eyes narrowed and a slight smile playing on her lips. She declares, "You big fat liar. You're one of those people who are all talk and no action, aren't you?" She then gives his face a powerful squeeze, emphasizing her words. Yamabuki cries out, "What? Hey!" as Rika, seemingly done with him, turns away with a cheerful smile, announcing, "I am going home." Behind them, Bucky, the cat mascot, stands frozen in shock, observing the scene. Yamabuki stands in shock, his face aghast as he wonders, "Did I just mess up?" Nini and Shinobu watch Ricky leave. Nini declares, "Off with his head, I say," while Shinobu observes, "Oh boy, he made her mad." Meanwhile, Iko, oblivious to the drama, innocently asks a waitress, "Excuse me, can I get another ice cream?" Iko, enjoying her new parfait, munches away, ignoring Nine's angry shouts of, "Hey, that's my parfait." Nine glares at Iko, saying, "You done nothing but mess up. Ever since you were born." Yamabuki, looking downcast, realizes, "I made her mad, huh?" He then reflects, "I mean, hasn't she been avoiding me lately?" A flashback shows Rika leaning in close to Yamabuki, whispering, "You were here to see me, right?" Her expression is soft, and he looks surprised by her proximity. The flashback continues as Rika pulls back, laughing, "Ah, ha, ha, I'm just messing with you." Yamabuki, still in his internal monologue, remembers, "She was all smiles when we first met." Yamabuki, seen from behind, walks down a school hallway as his thoughts continue. "But then, she just kept avoiding me more and more. I haven't even seen the singer girl." Rika, looking downcast, with flushed cheeks, panting softly, is seen during the morning run. Yamabuki recalls, "She didn't say anything during the morning run either. I've never even heard her sing before." Nani, her hands on her hips in an angry expression, explains, "Of course she's mad. She's good enough to write her own songs. Yet, some idiot who's all talk and can't even read sheet music acted like he knew better. Who wouldn't be mad?" Shinobu, with a surprised expression, tries to intervene. "Nain-chan, you shouldn't put him down like that." Nain, however, responds defiantly, "I am just stating facts." Ha! Her chibi form floating beside her. Iko, looking wide-eyed and a bit confused, points to an empty spot at the table, noting, "Oh, Bucky is gone." A faint poof indicates Bucky's sudden disappearance, leaving behind a stack of papers and empty cans. Yamabuki kneels in dramatic despair, clutching his head, his face contorted in disbelief as he repeats Nene's insult. I am all talk? Me, a Yamabuki?" Shinobu watches from the side, a surprised expression on her face, noting, "Whoa, your words literally brought him to his knees." Yamabuki, sweating profusely and gritting his teeth, proclaims, "That was outright verbal abuse. No one has ever said that to me, except my big sister, my little sister, and my mother." Bucky, the cat mascot, appears next to him, observing with a knowing look. Bucky points out, "So someone has said that to you before." Yamabuki clenches his fists under the table, muttering, "Heh heh 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 heh," to himself, a menacing shadow falling over his face, while Iko nervously laughs, with shake-shake sound effects around her. With a dramatic spring and an angry expression, Yamabuki abruptly stands up from his seat. He declares, "Since she said a ma'am all talk, I am sure she must be an excellent musician. I shall see for myself how good she is." Yamabuki, looking determined, dashes out of the restaurant, exclaiming, "Anyway, it's bathroom time for me, so I must be on my way." Shinobu and Iko look on, confused, with Shinobu asking, "Bathroom time, the heck?" A tall, narrow panel shows the exterior of a school building under a bright, partly cloudy sky, giving a sense of the architecture and the general environment. Yamabuki walks through a school hallway holding a book as he reflects. He thinks, every Wednesday after school, Rika Inohana performs live in the school's courtyard. He also recalls she did it even back when this was an all-girls school. But since it's gone co-ed, the boys haven't really gotten to hear her sing, according to the boys in my class. Yamabuki, still deep in thought, continues walking down the school hallway, his eyes cast downwards, a pensive expression on his face. Yamabuki, standing outside the school building, observes the courtyard. He comments, "The courtyard does get pretty noisy on Wednesday. I would have never guessed it was due to her singing." Students jabber in the background. Yamabuki muses, that side, a show by a student, probably doesn't draw that big of a crowd. Yamabuki's previous assumption is immediately proven wrong, as a large crowd of excited girls, all shouting yay, enthusiastically gather to watch Rika's performance. He stands, looking small and overwhelmed, at the far left of the scene. Rika, holding her acoustic guitar, smiles warmly at the large, cheering crowd. She announces, "I'll sing for a bit." She then thanks them, "Thank you all for showing up every week," and concludes with, "I hope you all enjoy my songs." The crowd responds with joyful jabber, eager for her performance. Yamabuki, hidden among the squeeing crowd of girls, looks stunned. He realizes, I underestimated her popularity. He observes that, her audience is bigger than I expected, as the girls continue to express their excitement with squee sound effects. Yamabuki walks cautiously through the crowd, looking around him with a questioning, Some girls in the crowd notice him, their expressions shifting to suspicion. Suddenly, a flurry of girls descends upon Yamabuki. They shout, "A boy is here to listen to Rika's songs," and tie him up and sacrifice him. Another girl yells, "Keep your pervy eyes off Rika-chan." The girls pursue him with aggressive, rash sound effects, creating a chaotic scene. Yamabuki, looking frantic and desperate, tries to reason with the girls chasing him. He cries out, "Wait, I am a broadcasting club member. I wouldn't do anything, so let me listen." Yamabuki is caught in the frenzy of the girls. A rhythmic twa-kong sound fills the air, indicating Rika has begun her guitar performance, cutting through the chaos. Rika, with a slight smile and a nervous blush, confesses to her audience, "I still get nervous no matter how many times I do this. Ah ha ha." She then asks, "I wonder if you all can tell." Yamabuki's eyes widen in surprise as he listens to Rika's voice, a sudden realization dawning on his face. Rika smiles as she confesses to her live audience, I still get nervous no matter how many times I do this. I wonder if you can tell." Despite her words, her expression is serene. Rika closes her eyes and smiles, apologizing in advance. "Sorry if I sound off key, okay?" Beside her, a phone screen shows her live stream titled Apollo with the song Midnight Heart Tune playing. Rika closes her eyes and sings, strumming her guitar with passionate emotion surrounded by sparkling effects. On the left side of the panel, Yamabuki's wide, tear-filled eyes reflect the profound impact of her song, as her live broadcast Apollo Midnight Heart Tune is visible on a screen. Yamabuki sits alone in a classroom, head bowed, as Rika appears as a radiant, almost ethereal vision, playing her guitar and singing. The panel is filled with shimmering light and musical notes, symbolizing the overwhelming power of her performance. Yamabuki's face is shown in a close-up, his eyes wide with a mix of awe and deep emotion. His mouth is slightly agape, indicating the profound impact Rika's song has had on him. Rika looks at Yamabuki with a soft, knowing smile, her eyes sparkling amidst the shimmering light and musical notes, seemingly aware of the effect her music has had. Yamabuki stares back, his face filled with a mixture of shock and quiet understanding, his earlier brashness completely replaced by a newfound humility, as if a profound revelation has just washed over him. Yamabuki stands alone in the school courtyard, gazing upwards as he finally comprehends the depth of Rika's talent. He muses, "So that's what Inohana songs are like?" Yamabuki's face is filled with a mixture of surprise and slight blush, as he braces fingers to his mouth in a gesture of contemplation, still processing the raw emotion of Rika's music. Rika, silhouetted against a shimmering, almost divine light, is seen playing her guitar, the panel overflowing with musical notes. Yamabuki's inner thoughts reveal his awe. When I heard her sing, I saw a glimpse of Apollo. Yamabuki looks down, a single tear escaping his eye as he reflects on Nani's harsh words. He thinks, now I see why she called me a good-for-nothing piece of trash who's all talk. I guess I'd better steel myself. The panel shows a close-up of Rika's eyes, looking up, a hint of worry and determination in her gaze. The scene shifts to the school courtyard, filled with students cheering yay as Rika performs. Yamabuki's inner monologue reveals how much has changed. Yamabuki-kun has been coming to my shows every week since then. A frantic Yamabuki, looking completely panicked, bows deeply, exclaiming, I am sorry for everything. A chibi version of Rika appears, observing him, and muses, is he here to apologize for his arrogance? Rika, her eyes closed, and a hint of sadness on her face, states, I don't even want you to listen to my songs in the first place. She then adds, I don't like this at all. A suave sound indicates a soft breeze or a quiet sigh. Rika sings and plays her guitar with passion, amidst a showering of musical notes and light. While in the background, Yamabuki watches her perform for the crowd. Yamabuki looks on, his expression serious and thoughtful, taking in Rika's performance with a newfound respect. Rika sings with her eyes closed, radiating emotion as musical notes and shimmering lights surround her, emphasizing the raw beauty of her performance. Rika addresses her cheering audience, announcing, All right, I'll do one last song. She then asks, if you have any requests. A girl in the crowd enthusiastically shouts, I want to hear that new Kin-Free song. The girls in the audience react with excitement, exclaiming, Wow, wow! One girl adds, the one from that viral video? I love that one. Another comments, the dance is just so adorable. A close-up on Rika's eye shows her looking slightly worried, a bead of sweat forming as she hears the request. The voice from off-panel asks, Can you pull it off, Rika-chan? Rika, with a confident and knowing smile, responds, Yeah, of course I can. Her cheerful demeanor suggests she's ready for the challenge. Rika holds up 2 sheets of paper, one labeled New Songs and the other Lyrics for Live Shows, demonstrating her preparedness and a slight, mischievous side. Yamabuki, with his guitar, begins to play, filling the courtyard with loud, resounding notes, signaling the start of his unexpected performance. The sound thwomp is prominently displayed, indicating a powerful strum. From a high angle, Yamabuki is seen performing with his guitar on the small stage under an awning, while Rika and a few other girls stand by looking surprised. Yamabuki surprised? Yamabuki shouts, Thank you. A close-up of Rika's eyes shows her watching Yamabuki with a look of intense, almost alarmed surprise, a subtle bead of sweat indicating her shock. Yamabuki stands confidently, arms crossed as Rika observes him. She remarks, Well, if it isn't he, Mr. All Talk. Yamabuki retorts, Stop calling me that. Rika, with a mischievous smile and narrowed eyes, leans in close, asking Yamabuki, You been showing up to hear me sing lately. Are you just that smitten with me? She chuckles. Yamabuki, with a dramatic pose and wide, earnest eyes, apologizes sincerely to Rika. He states, Yes, your songs are fantastic and moving. Allow me to apologize for making light of your capability. His words are filled with genuine admiration, punctuated by a dun sound effect. Rika looks at Yamabuki with a scrutinizing gaze, a hint of suspicion in her eye as he continues to speak. He adds, I am sure your street performance will be a hit, too. Rika, her gaze unwavering, asks Yamabuki, Did you come to all my shows just to flatter me and get on my good side again? She appears unconvinced by his compliments. Rika smiles faintly, her eyes still closed, as she says, You can butter me up all you like, but don't you think that'll convince me to do whatever you say? Yamabuki stands a short distance away, watching her intently. With a quick temp sound at a wave, Rika bids Yamabuki farewell, saying, Later. She walks off into the distance, carrying her guitar case, leaving him standing alone in the courtyard. Yamabuki stands in the courtyard, looking bewildered as other students whisper around him. He is smitten with Riki-chan, I am sure. Another student asks, Hasn't that boy been showing up every week? The whispers indicate he's become the subject of school gossip. Rika walks through the school hallway surrounded by fellow students. She replies, You are coming to my show today too, huh? As she hears one student ask, Are you going to do a show? Another student expresses gratitude, saying, Thank you. Rika's thoughts turn to Yamabuki as she notes, Yamabuki-kun, didn't he come to my show last week, though? He's been absent from the club for a while, too. Rika, walking alone down the hall, reflects, he had nothing to do with anything, yet I took it out on him. She then resolves, I guess I shouldn't have said all that. Rika's eyes show a tender, remorseful expression as she thinks, I'll apologize to him the next time I see him. The woo-woo sound effect emphasizes her contemplative mood. Rika walks through a bustling school hallway filled with chatter. She suddenly realizes with wide eyes, oh no, I am late. There's already so many people. Rika dashes forward with a determined smile, apologizing to everyone as she rushes. Sorry, everyone. The dash sound effect highlights her hurried movement. Rika's surprise is evident as she sees a small crowd around a lone boy playing guitar on the stage. Students shout insults at him. You suck! Sell your guitar! Screw you! Give us Rika-chan instead. One boy, unfazed, responds, come on now. Don't say that when I've only performed one song. Another voice in the crowd proclaims, we not here for you. Rika stares, wide-eyed, letting out a soft, oh. The boy playing the guitar on stage is revealed to be Yamabuki. He addresses Rika, saying, long time no see, Inohana. Sorry for hijacking your show. Rika, looking surprised, asks him, what are you doing? Yamabuki, with a triumphant grin and a fang-like tooth exposed, answers Rika's question. A show, obvio woozly. He then directly references her previous insult, asking, remember how you said that I am all talk? Rika stares at Yamabuki, a faint blush on her cheeks as he continues. He explains, that's why I've been learning in secret how to sing and play the guitar. Also that I can surprise you. A close-up shot focuses on Yamabuki's hand, revealing several bandaged fingers, clear evidence of the effort and physical toll his secret guitar practice has taken. Rika, looking genuinely surprised and slightly flustered, asks Yamabuki, you learned to play the guitar just for that? Surprise me? Rika, with a soft smile and her eyes closed, shakes her head slightly, remarking, gosh, you, simply absurd. With Yamabuki now playing guitar beside her on stage, Rika announces to the cheering crowd, sorry, I forgot to tell you all, but I'll be performing alongside him today. The girls in the crowd gasp in surprise, huh? How are we even going to do this? As others cheer, woo! Woo! Rika, with a confident smile, reassures Yamabuki, don't worry about it. You can play however you like. Yamabuki looks utterly shocked and overwhelmed, sweat dripping down his face. He manages to stutter, oh okay? As Rika confidently declares, I'll back you up. Yamabuki and Rika stand inside the school, facing each other after their performance. Yamabuki, looking apologetic, says, sorry. My show was pretty much a mess. Rika agrees, you really sucked at playing guitar. Rika, with a slight smirk, leans in towards Yamabuki, asking him, so how was it? You got nervous, right? Your heart was pounding, wasn't it? Yamabuki, however, remains defiantly composed. He states, like I said before, I don't get nervous. He then proudly proclaims, as a Yamabuki I've been through all manner of hells. That's why I have nerves of steel. Titanium even. Rika looks unconvinced by Yamabuki's bold claims. She questions, again with that nonsense, is any of it even true? Yamabuki confidently asserts, all of it, yes. A close-up of Rika's chin, her lips pressed together, shows her deep in thought. She hums thoughtfully. Rika leans her head against Yamabuki's shoulder, her eyes closed, creating an intimate moment with a soft, lean sound. Yamabuki, startled, looks down at her with wide eyes. The panel dramatically illustrates the dizzying effect of Rika leaning against him, with swirling lines and abstract shapes emphasizing Yamabuki's complete surprise and internal chaos. Yamabuki, still flustered by Rika's closeness, exclaims, What are you doing? Rika remains leaning on him, a soft thunk sound accompanying her action. As they stand near a window overlooking the school courtyard, Rika, with a knowing, almost teasing smile, looks directly at Yamabuki, her eyes sparkling mischievously. She declares, you big fat liar. Rika, her smile hinting at mischief, points out, you have a bit of a nasty streak, don't you? She then playfully challenges Yamabuki. Now why is your heart beating so fast, I wonder? Is it because you are nervous or excited? The chapter title is revealed, Chapter 3, Liar, perfectly encapsulating the theme of the current events and Rika's recent pronouncements. Nani stands, ready to leave, holding her bag. Shinobu, observing her, comments, You've sure been busy lately, huh, Nin-chan? Nine responds, I need to take care of something today, too, so I am going home. Ego, looking worried, asks, Yurei up to no good, aren't you? Yamabuki, seated at a desk, says, Hold it. We were not done with our club activities yet. Nin scoffs, like hell I am. Yamabuki adds, At this rate, even the level 2 kanji aptitude test will remain a pipe dream. Nini, in her chibi form, angrily dismisses Yamabuki's concern, shouting, That's your dream, not mine. Yamabuki, holding up his kanji drill book, reiterates with a frustrated expression, At this rate, even the level 3 kanji aptitude test will remain a pipe dream. Nini, her face obscured by shadow but clearly furious, slams her desk with a loud slam, as she declares, I am through with those stupid kanji exercises. Shinobu, sitting at a desk with Rika Inohana, notices Nene's recent behavior. Shinobu says, Nei-chan hasn't been hanging out with us very much lately. Rika, holding a piece of paper, wonders, maybe she's working part-time? She adds, she can be quite bashful. Shinobu, with a confident smile, reassures Yamabuki, don't time worry. She's not up to anything. Yamabuki, however, remains suspicious, observing with narrowed eyes, those are the eyes of someone who's got something to hide. Maybe she's up to some shady business, just like Kirino said. Shinobu, still smiling, looks directly at Yamabuki as she explains, because it's super obvious. Yamabuki, perplexed, asks, How can you be so sure about that, Uzuki? A close-up of Nene's face seen in profile reveals a subtle twitch in her ear, signaling to Shinobu that, when Nene-chan is lying, the bottom of the panel reads Chapter 4, marking a new segment of the story. The girls are gathered in the school hallway, looking at Nini with surprised wow expressions and wide-eyed O's as she greets them with a smile. Nene, with a big smile, greets her fellow students in the hallway who exclaim, Wow, and oh, it's Nene-chan. Thank you. One girl asks, Do you want to hang out with us later? Meme politely declines, Sorry, but I have to go home now. Maybe some other time. Another student comments, I can't wait for your broadcast this week. Himikawa-san. The remaining girls exchange looks of concern. One remarks, the Nei-chan really is busy, huh? Another observes with narrowed eyes, the school gate isn't over there, though. The four girls stand together in the hallway, their expressions a mix of confusion and concern as they ponder Nene's evasive behavior and suspicious destination. Shinobu, with a subtle slip motion, moves away from the group. She thinks, I know Wazuki Sajisaji's not up to anything, but if she really is doing something morally dubious, I'll have to stop her. Yamabuki, disguised as a girl, is seen lurking in the background thinking, dressed up as a girl to close in on them. Several eek sound effects emanate from the other girls. Shinobu, dressed in what appears to be Nene's uniform, looks around the school hallway, a slight blush on her face. She muses, A scandal wouldn't be good for our club, A rattle sound accompanies her movement as she moves towards a door. Shinobu, in Nene's uniform, furtively peeks into a classroom door, making a rummage sound as she tries to see what's inside. Yamabuki is briefly visible behind her, still in his disguise. Shinobu, surprised by what she sees, recoils with a shocked gasp, her eyes wide with alarm. Shinobu, with a quiet sound, pulls out a piece of paper from Nene's bag, labeled Audition 2 Nightly Love. She wonders, what is that? Shinobu, a faint blush on her face, mutters, audition? Yamabuki, still in disguise, looks over her shoulder, curious, and asks, a notebook? Shinobu, now revealed to be Nene in a dramatic change of attire, proudly holds up the audition script, exclaiming, I am sorry for asking you to come all the way out here. There is something I must tell you, before you are no longer around. Yamabuki looks on, surprised by her sudden revelation and change in demeanor. Nene, her eyes closed and a wide smile on her face, is seen practicing her lines, holding the Audition 2 Nightly Love script. Yamabuki observes, realizing she's been secretly practicing for her audition in here. Nene continues practicing her lines, saying, It's tender and pleasant, like that of a cat seeking your attention. Yamabuki listens intently, recognizing something familiar, and thinks, this voice. Nene, with a hand to her chest, continues to practice, saying, however, it does bring back fond memories. She sounds genuinely emotive, her words resonating with a deeper meaning. Yamabuki, with a look of intense realization and a bead of sweat on his brow, says, however, the ellipsis suggests he's about to voice a crucial observation. Yamabuki, suddenly appearing in his normal uniform behind Nene, shouts, the actual acting is way too shoddy. Nene, utterly startled, lets out a high-pitched yeet and spins around. knocking over furniture with a rattle. Yamabuki stands confidently, pointing at her. Nini, her face flushed with embarrassment and anger, shouts at Yamabuki, "There's no emotion in it whatsoever. It's totally different from what I heard before." A blush indicates her extreme mortification. Nani, her face contorted in anger, screams at Yamabuki, "Don't spy on me, you pervy." Yamabuki, caught off guard, takes a punch to the face with a loud smack, his head recoiling from the impact. He mutters, "Just what hap." Nani, still fuming, clutches her head, exclaiming, "Damn it, how does he have such a thick skull?" Yamabuki, rubbing his cheek, casually asks, "Is this manga getting an anime-adapted tie-in?" Nini, exasperated, throws her hands up and shouts at Yamabuki, "It's the hottest manga right now, yet you have no idea what it's about. What's it about?" Nini explains, "Knightly Love is a manga about the forbidden love between a princess and a soldier." She then adds, "This scene right here really packs an emotional punch." Nini continues to explain the scene from Knightly Love, describing how the princess rushes to the soldier who's just lost a battle. She adds, she wants to hug him, but can't let those around them find out about their relationship. Nain further elaborates on the scene, explaining that the princess so she pretends to brush dirt off of him. Nini, her face radiating with excitement, animatedly describes the emotional peak of the scene, and secretly plants a kiss on his helmet. Yamabuki leans in close to Nene, an intrigued expression on his face as he comments, "You like this kind of stuff, huh?" Nene, startled by his sudden proximity, recoils with a surprised, "Whoa, your face," as Yamabuki looms over her. Yamabuki, with a triumphant smile, asks Nene, "Oh, can you tell how well-toned my skin is?" Nene, flustered and blushing, shouts, "Your face is too close, dumbass." Nene, now feeling a sense of regret, sighs. She tells Yamabuki, "Ivy talked a bit too much. I need to practice, so get out." Yamabuki stands in the background looking on. Yamabuki, looking serious, questions Nene, "Why didn't you just tell us? You can just practice in the clubroom. You don't even need to keep the audition a secret." Nini glares at Yamabuki, her expression hardening as she asserts, "This is not your problem, so stay out of it." Yamabuki looks at Nene with a determined expression, declaring, "This is very much my problem and I can simply ignore it." He reminds her of his promise. "I promise to turn you all into true professionals after all." A close-up of Nene's face and profile shows her looking away, her expression unreadable as she considers Yamabuki's unwavering commitment. Yamabuki continues to talk, while Nene interjects, "Nobody asked you to." He then cuts her off, unexpectedly revealing, back in middle school. Yamabuki, much to Nene's shocked confession, reveals, "I actually wet my bed during a field trip." Nene stands a short distance away, looking at him with disbelief. Yamabuki continues his embarrassing confessions, saying, "I've also been yelled at by doctors from time to time for overfilling the containers during urine tests." Nene, exasperated, shouts, "Why are you sharing all this? You sure have an overactive bladder, don't you?" Yamabuki adds, "I've also wet myself when I was at the dentist because I was in so much pain." Yamabuki, a faint blush on his cheeks, leans in, declaring to Nene, "I won't let you be embarrassed alone." He then adds, "Whatever your reason is, it must be embarrassing for you to say it, right?" Nene looks at Yamabuki, a blush creeping up her face, her eyes filled with a mix of surprise and a hint of gratitude. He asks, "Well, is it a bit easier for you to talk now?" Nene sits down at a desk with a soft plop sound, facing Yamabuki, who is seated opposite her. The two are finally ready to have a serious conversation. Nene looks down, a deep blush on her cheeks as she hesitantly begins to speak. "It's as if you know." Yamabuki looks at Nene, his eyes serious and focused as he calmly prompts her, "What?" Nene, her head bowed and her hands clasped, confesses to Yamabuki, "It's just that. I've never been in a relationship before, so I can't pull off confession scenes at all." Her words reveal her insecurity about romantic acting. Yamabuki's eyes widen in surprise as he processes Nane's unexpected confession, his expression a mixture of shock and understanding. Nene, exasperated, stands up from her seat, causing a clatter, and shouts at Yamabuki, "I am being serious here." Yamabuki, however, leans back casually, dismissively replying, "May, really? That's it?" Yamabuki, holding up Nene's Knightly Love manga, flips through it with a flip sound as he tells her, Yamabuki Family Precept number 23. "If you lack experience, you just need to get some." He delivers this advice with a confident smirk. Nene, her face flushed with a mix of anger and bewilderment, exclaims, I see." So that's the manga's plot. You know, I'm getting real sick of all your random nonsense. She struggles to grasp Yamabuki's line of reasoning. Yamabuki extends his hand towards Nene, his expression serious as he simply states her name, Nene. Yamabuki, kneeling on one knee, takes Nene's hand, looking up at her with a serious expression. He proposes, "Why don't we become a couple?" Nene stares back, utterly shocked by his sudden and dramatic gesture. Nene's eyes are wide with utter disbelief and shock, her mouth agape in a horrified "what?" as she recoils from Yamabuki's unexpected proposal. Yamabuki, unfazed by Nene's reaction, clarifies, Wane, what are you saying?" The line from the scene where the soldier confesses his love to the princess, of course. He references the knightly love manga once again. Yamabuki, with a confident smile, explains his plan to a bewildered Nini. "From now on, I'll be the soldier and you'll be the princess. You have 3 weeks until the audition. You just have to spend all that time as my sweetheart and acquaint yourself with your role." A close-up of Nene's face shows her eyes wide and wet with confusion and a deep blush, as she manages only a bewildered "Whew." Nene, her face beet red with a mix of fury and embarrassment, shouts, "Oh, is that so? I'd rather die. I'll have to be your girlfriend for 3 weeks." Yamabuki looks at her calmly, awaiting her reaction. Nene, shaking with rage, clenches her fists and screams, "Lie! Damn you!" Yamabuki, with a triumphant smirk, counters, "Which means all that gushing you did earlier must be fake as well. I guess you're just not that serious about pursuing your dream." The scene shifts to the school hallway, where students chatter excitedly as they walk past, their voices a blend of surprise and gossip, creating a buzzing atmosphere. Shinobu, Iko, and Rika stand together looking utterly bewildered. Iko exclaims, her whole face is beet red. Shinobu asks, "Were those two an item all along?" Riko, equally confused, asks, "What's going on here?" Yamabuki calmly walks hand in hand with a blushing Nin down the school hallway, amidst the chatter of other students who stare at them in surprise. Nine looks mortified by the public display. The students' chatter continues, filled with gossip. One voice exclaims, "What? Nene Chien has a boyfriend." Another adds, "I thought she said she didn't want a boyfriend." A third voice identifies Yamabuki. "Isn't he that Yamabuki from Class C?" Another student comments on Yamabuki's expression. "His face is so punchable right now." Yamabuki, with a smug smile, leans in and addresses Nine, calling her princess. He then asks, "I cannot think of anything more comforting than a breeze, can you?" Nine's face is beet red and dripping with sweat from embarrassment. She stammers, yeah, I suppose. She can barely form a coherent response to Yamabuki's theatrical words. Nini, still flustered and blushing, thinks to herself, "H, how do you turn out like this?" He does have a point, though. If I can't even handle this, there's no way I can handle real, grown-up romance. Yamabuki, observing Nena's distress through the classroom window, asks, "Oh dear, are you all right, princess?" Nene, caught off guard, responds with a confused, "Huh." Nene, still flustered, manages to say, "I am fine," as she is hit by a sudden gust of wind, depicted with a whoosh sound effect. Yamabuki, holding Nene close, notices, "It looks like your heels are broken." He then offers, "You can ride on my back." Nene, surprised, looks up at him, her face flushed. Nene looks utterly dumbfounded as she thinks H is. He's acting out the manga story, and so perfectly too. A small illustration in the background shows the soldier carrying the princess, mirroring the scene. Nini, wide-eyed with panic, exclaims, "Wait, hold on a sec! Is he going to act out the whole story during these 3 weeks?" Nia's mind races as she considers the implications. A panel showing the knight kissing the princess illustrates her thought. The final chapter has that one scene. Is he seriously? Nini, her hands covering her mouth in horrified realization, her eyes wide with fear and a blush creeping across her face, thinks, is he seriously planning to do the final kiss scene too? Nine's eyes are wide with apprehension, a blush covering her cheeks as she considers the terrifying possibility. She thinks, knowing him, he might just do it. She even applies chapstick, almost in preparation. The chapter title is revealed. Chapter 4, 3 Weeks Until the Kiss, ominously setting the stage for the dramatic romantic tension to come. The female character, with her hair in twin pigtails, holds out a spoon towards the male character, her face flushed as she playfully instructs him to, "Okay, say ah." He obliges, his mouth slightly open as he echoes, Ah, this is all part of their simulated relationship, marking their third day as a couple. On their 10th day, the male character stands by a window with the female character, offering a poetic observation. The moon sure is beautiful tonight, is it not? The female character looks unimpressed, replying flatly, I don't know, it's pretty damn cloudy. By the 15th day, the male character is energetically rowing a boat, splashing water high into the air as he lets out a powerful yell. Raya! The female character, drenched and frustrated, cries out, Hey, slow down! As water showers around them, highlighting the chaotic nature of their couple activities. By the 19th day, the female character is wide-eyed and flustered, her mouth agape in surprise as she exclaims, Whoa! Who? It seems an unexpected action has just occurred, catching her completely off guard. The male character carries the female character in his arms, princess style, her skirt exposed slightly, prompting her to yell, Can't you see that I'm wearing a skirt? The male character with a seemingly knowing smile internally thinks, This is how it is in the manga. Torture Town no Rias, revealing that their actions are deliberate reenactments. The scene shifts to the side, where a light-haired girl named Iko Kirino observes, remarking that they're bickering even more often now and don't seem to be acting like a couple. A girl with longer braided hair, Rika Inohana, stands by as the male character from the previous panel, carrying the female character, tells her, Don't worry, princess, you're not heavy at all. Juridietsu Jack's Monopoint Lady points out, that line isn't in the manga. A third girl, Shinobu Uzuki, with long dark hair and a bright smile, begins to offer her thoughts, musing. Well, if they're bickering more often than before... The manga recap transitions into Chapter 5, showing the female character from before, now known as Himekawa, looking surprised and slightly embarrassed, while the male character, Yamabuki, looks determined and slightly confrontational, declaring, Doesn't that just mean there's less distance between them now? As he grips her blazer, pulling her closer. On the 20th day, Yamabuki asks Himekawa if she has a better understanding of her role now, stating confidently, We've perfectly acted out the manga story for the past 3 weeks. He then reminds her, The audition is tomorrow. Yamabuki, seemingly ignoring Himekawa, stands facing away from her. Himekawa asks, Why are you being so standoffish? He responds with a dismissive, No idea, interrupting her to insist, At least look at me. Himekawa, looking thoughtful and a little nervous, recounts their practice, saying, We did the boat ride scene, the feeding scene, and even the princess carry one. She then realizes, her face flushing, that all that's left is the last chapter's KK. Himekawa's eyes widen, her face covered in a blush, as the word she couldn't bring herself to say is revealed in large, bold letters. Kiss. Himekawa is overcome with panicked thoughts, her expression a mix of embarrassment and worry. She wonders, What do I do? My lips are all chapped right now. Then quickly spirals, thinking, No way. Should I really just go for it? Her thoughts escalate to, Oh no, I'm already assuming that it'll happen for sure. Tufter you're all, before a crucial realization hits her. Wait, was this his goal all along? He just wanted to kiss me. His coaching was just an excuse. With a quick glance, Himekawa's expression hardens slightly as her blush intensifies, and she thinks to herself, Oh, damn it, this is why I can't stand men. She feels that they all just expect women to do whatever they want. Yamabuki, looking calm and composed, adjusts his tie while intently reading the manga Nightly Love, murmuring softly to himself, appearing completely absorbed in the story. Himekawa looks over at Yamabuki, her expression soft and contemplative, observing him quietly without saying a word. Himekawa dismisses her previous fears with a simple, no. She clarifies her understanding of Yamabuki, concluding, Even I can tell after spending the last 3 weeks with him. Looking across the room at Yamabuki, who stands with his back to her, Himekawa acknowledges, He's read the manga even more times than I have. She then admits, and he was totally in character as the hero, finally affirming her belief. He's serious about helping me get better. Himekawa, reflecting on their interactions, thinks, He's a pain in the ass, but I can't deny he's good at his job. Yamabuki, meanwhile, irritably asks, Can't you put more heart into it? To which Himekawa defensively replies, Not when I have to deal with you. My acting has gotten way better too. The exchange is filled with their usual bickering, despite Himekawa's internal thoughts of his competence. Himekawa looks down, trying to steel herself with the thought, Right? This is all just practice in the end. She convinces herself, a little kiss is nothing. Yamabuki, still holding the manga, looks focused as he begins to speak. Alright, now you just need to... Himekawa internally predicts his next words, knowing he will say, Now you just need to practice for the kiss. She acknowledges, I knew it, he's totally going to say it. Himekawa mentally sighs, accepting the inevitable. She thinks, I can tell from miles away, then adds, it's annoying, but this is practice, so I just need to suck it up, as she prepares for the scene. Himekawa applies lip balm, her cheeks faintly blushing, steeling herself with the thought, I just gotta get it over with. Yamabuki, with a turn of his head, seems to notice something as he looks over, his eyes sharp and observant. Yamabuki looks at Himekawa with a calm expression, stating, now you just need to take a break to prepare for the audition. Himekawa, however, is taken aback, reacting with a shocked, huh? Himekawa, confused, demands, we're not practicing the kiss scene? Yamabuki, looking away, replies, of course not, then challenges her. What kind of man do you take me for? Before walking off, leaving her speechless. Yamabuki turns his head slightly, giving Himekawa a meaningful look as he quietly advises her, you should save that for someone you're actually in love with. Himekawa's face flushes a deep red, her eyes wide with surprise and a hint of embarrassment, as Yamabuki's words sink in. Himekawa angrily strides away, yelling back at Yamabuki, ugh, you stupid idiot! You'll regret this for the rest of your life. He calmly retorts, I'm far from stupid though. I got top scores on my exams. As which only seems to infuriate her further. Himekawa reaches the door, Yamabuki calls out to her, Himekawa, then with a confident smile, encourages her. Have some faith in yourself. His words cause a slight twitch of emotion on her face. Himekawa glances back over her shoulder, her expression a little softer as Yamabuki declares, I know you can ace the audition. Himekawa's face is shown in close-up, still slightly flushed, with a tiny bead of sweat near her temple, indicating her inner turmoil from Yamabuki's words. Himekawa stands by the door, still looking back at Yamabuki. She hesitantly admits, it was just a fraction, okay? Leaving Yamabuki looking on with a questioning mark over his head. Himekawa turns slightly, her gaze cast downwards as she continues, I had the tiniest fraction's worth of fun during the past 3 weeks. A quiet confession of her developing feelings. Yamabuki smiles warmly and waves to Himekawa, telling her, good luck. He then adds, I'm glad to hear that. Hey, showing his sincerity in their training. The following week, Himekawa looks dejected, her pigtails drooping as she quietly states, I didn't pass. The male character, Yamabuki, collapses dramatically onto the floor, his body contorted in a shocked and defeated posture, letting out a pained cry of, Ack! Yamabuki, visibly sweating and panting from the shock, asks in disbelief, how? My curriculum was perfect. He then questions Himekawa, did you slip up or something? A shadowy figure, presumably an agent, explains to a surprised Himekawa. Well, there you have it. He clarifies. There was an unexpected demand from the author. They refused to give the go-ahead for the anime unless this one girl was cast. Himekawa can only react with a stunned, oh, just like that? Yamabuki lies face down on the desk, his head heavy with disappointment. He thinks to himself, I should have seen this coming. Dirty. While also acknowledging, I'm partly at fault, too. Himekawa looks on with a sorrowful expression, feeling remorseful as she softly says, I'm sorry. If only I was a bit more competent. Himekawa looks at Yamabuki's slumped form, she internally observes. He's actually feeling guilty about this. She thought he would berate her instead and now wonders, I should probably try to cheer him up. But how? Himekawa looks at the manga, Nightly Love, focusing on a specific scene, thinking, this scene right here really packs an emotional punch. Himekawa observes the scene in the manga, which describes the heroine's dilemma. She wants to hug him but can't let those around them find out about their relationship. The manga continues to describe the subtle act of affection, explaining, so she pretends to brush dirt off of him. Himekawa acts out the scene, reaching under the desk where Yamabuki is slumped, pretending to brush something off his shoulder, her movements a tender gesture. Yamabuki, still partially obscured by the manga Nightly Love, lifts his head slightly, questioning, Did you do something just now? Himekawa, turning her back to Yamabuki, dismisses his question with, Not really. I just brushed some dirt off of you. She then announces, Anyway, I'm going home. Himekawa walks away. Yamabuki suddenly exclaims, Wait. He grabs her arm, his voice filled with urgency, asking, Himekawa, you kissed me just now, didn't you? Are you actually in love with me? Yamabuki's intense gaze falls upon Himekawa as he repeats his question, his voice serious. Himekawa, are you actually in love with me? Yamabuki clarifies his deduction, explaining, I could tell based on your breathing and posture. He then asks, it was a recreation of that really emotional scene you mentioned, wasn't it? Yamabuki looks at Himekawa with a serious expression, reminding her, I told you to save your kiss for someone you truly love. He adds, yet you still kissed me anyway. Sorry if I'm jumping to conclusions, but Himekawa's head is tilted down, her expression hidden, leaving her feelings ambiguous and adding to the tension of the moment. Himekawa glares fiercely at Yamabuki, her eyes narrowed with a furious determination, hinting at an impending outburst. Himekawa suddenly grabs Yamabuki and flips him over her shoulder in a powerful judo throw, yelling, I was just trying to make you feel better. Yamabuki crashes onto the floor from Himekawa's judo throw, while she furiously shouts, Don't go and delude yourself, dumbass. Jawa's small caption clarifies, Forced to learn judo. Himekawa storms out of the room yelling back, I hate you, leaving behind a startled Iko Kurino and Rika Inohana. The force of her exit causes a strong gust, emphasizing her anger. Shinobu Uzuki peeks her head through the doorway, looking bewildered and asking, What happened? What went down in here? Yamabuki is seen kneeling on the floor, looking utterly defeated and shocked. As Shinobu Uzuki calls out, Yamabuki-kun? Yamabuki, still kneeling, laments, I'm now a hated man, all because of my foolish hubris. Rika Anohana, looking confused, wonders, is he so distraught that he's kneeling here in repentance? Does that just happen to boys sometimes? Did you miss a penalty kick during a soccer game or something? Shinobu, looking concerned, asks Yamabuki, Did you say something to offend her somehow? Yamabuki, still shaking and sweating, evasively replies, Well, this and that. Shinobu's eye sparkles with the sudden realization, indicated by a ding sound effect, as a new understanding dawns on her. Shinobu, with a knowing finger to her lips and a mischievous smile, whispers, She then confidently states to Yamabuki, I think she actually lied about hating you. Shinobu looks at Yamabuki, who is standing with a slightly dejected expression, and tells him, Well, she's kind of a hothead, you see. He replies, She threw me to the ground with all her might, though. Shinobu, with a thoughtful expression, explains to Yamabuki, Well, she's kind of a hothead, you see. He recounts, She threw me to the ground with all her might, though. Shinobu then reveals with a sly look, But she's such a bad liar you can see through it right away. She adds, When Nanchunier's lying, she's embarrassed. She'll try to hide behind her outbursts. Ooh. Looking at the viewer, she concludes, Oh yes, you can tell when she's lying with just a glance, because it's super obvious, emphasizing Nine's transparent emotions. Himekawa stands with her back to the viewer, her head turned slightly, hinting at her listening to the conversation, her emotions remaining unseen but palpable. The title card appears, Chapter 5, Nene Himekawa's ears tell all, surrounded by static-like effects. A voice, presumably Yamabuki's, wonders, Can you hear me? Huh? I think I might have a bad connection. The scene shifts to a distant past, with a person sitting on a chair reminiscing. The voice says, Heh 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 heh, this takes me back. You had it rough back in those days too, didn't you? The image is overlaid with the text, years later. The unseen speaker continues, addressing Arisu-kun, saying, Arisu-kun, the 2 years I spent after you showed up that day were really fun for me. Arisu, a younger Yamabuki, is seen sitting on the floor by a door holding a string telephone to his ear. The speaker asks, Oh right, do you remember that one time? It was the sports day during our second year in high school. You talked to a girl on the other side of the door using a string telephone. This memory is crucial, bridging the past and present. The speaker reveals the truth with a warm smile, stating, That was actually me. That was actually me. Then wonders, I wonder if you noticed back then. This revelation adds a layer of depth to their relationship. The speaker's hand rests on a keyboard and phone, signifying they're present. They reflect. If it weren't for those words you said back then, I probably wouldn't have made it this far. The speaker, now revealed to be Himekawa in a wedding dress, stands beside an older Yamabuki in a suit. She declares, Today will be the last episode of Midnight Heart Tune, so I might as well tell you everything. Himekawa's face is shown in close-up, a gentle, emotional smile on her lips, her eyes filled with warmth and sincerity. The final confession comes, I love you, Yamabuki-kun. The chapter is titled Chapter 5, Overture, with a note that it is to be continued in Volume 222 read, leaving a cliffhanger for the reader. In Chapter 7, Arisu Yamabuki, a young man with dark hair and a white blazer and black tie, sits at a desk in a cluttered room looking up at Iko Kirino, a blonde-haired girl in a cat-eared hoodie over her uniform. Iko turns away slightly, her expression unreadable, and states softly that she means something, then continues by asking if this isn't exactly what he told them to do. Iko Kirino is shown in a close-up, her hands near the zipper of her hoodie, implying a gesture of modesty or discretion. She explains that he told them to lock the door, adding that it was for if something was embarrassing. Arisu looks directly at Iko, his head turned towards her as she reveals a piece of paper, pulling it out with a soft sound. She maintains eye contact, her expression earnest. Arisu Yamabuki leans back in his chair, looking up and away. He asks if that's where she keeps her tablet, then questions if it doesn't really get in the way. A tall, cat-like figure stands next to him, looking on with an unamused expression. A close-up of Iko's eyes shows her looking intently, her expression serious, and a slight blush on her cheek. She asks about the tablet, then admits that she's too embarrassed to talk about this with other people, but believes she can do it with him. Iko Kirino looks directly at Arisu, her face flushed with a nervous blush. She holds up a tablet showing her VTuber avatar, Icon Sumeragi, a blonde girl with cat ears and headphones, along with a smaller, simplified avatar. She hesitantly asks if he can give me some advice. The screen displays a series of comments from viewers. One says they feel like they've seen this before, another complains they're getting bored, and a third simply states, "Hell, Iko." More viewer comments scroll by, one declares it's the same as yesterday, while another insists it needs more variety. A final blunt comment appears on the screen, stating that this is getting stale, indicating a strong negative reaction from the audience. Arisu Yamabuki and Iko Kirino both stand, looking down at the tablet. Arisu comments that she's been struggling to get more views, to which Iko responds with a simple, "I see." Iko Kirino looks down, her expression shadowed in a deep frown on her face. She admits that she's never had these kinds of comments before, contemplating that people might actually be getting sick of her. A close-up on Arisu's face reveals his focused gaze as he begins to speak, saying, "I mean." Iko responds with a wide, open-mouthed smile, her eyes closed in apparent delight. She insists that his criticism only applies during break time, proclaiming that she creates actual content too. Arisu, with a slightly annoyed expression, retorts that of course they'd get bored if all she does is say hi to them. Iko gestures with her hand, a confident smile on her face, as she lists the variety of content she produces, including songs, gaming, small talk, cooking, and even live drawing sometimes. She proudly declares that she actually drew the avatar for Icon herself. Arisu, with a thoughtful frown, looks away as he states that he thinks he might know why she's not getting more views now. Iko's legs are visible, implying she's still in motion or shifting her weight, as she looks down at him from a slightly elevated position. Iko looks intently at Arisu, who is turned slightly away with his eyes closed, suggesting deep thought. Arisu confidently states that there's no doubt about it, since he's watched pretty much all her streams. Iko, surprised, asks, "Huh?" Iko looks down at Arisu from a standing position, asking if he's seen everything on there. Arisu, looking up at her, affirms this with an enthusiastic indeed, declaring that he gave her entire archive a thorough once-over. Iko blushes profusely, her hand touching her chin as she looks away with a mortified expression. She calls Arisu a dirty pervert for watching her archives, but then quickly defends herself, asking, "What? Why?" and pointing out that all of her streams are public, you know. Arisu and Iko now stand side by side, both looking at a tablet. Arisu acknowledges that it's good she's doing a variety of content, but then tells her to take a look. Icon Sumeragi, Iko's VTuber avatar with cat ears and headphones, stands facing forward with a neutral expression. Tice bubbles show her declaring, "Hell, Iko," and then announcing, "I'll be singing today. Hope you enjoy it." Icon Sumeragi maintains her neutral expression. On one side, she announces it's her birthday today, while on the other, she thanks viewers for all those comments, stating they made her really happy. Icon Sumeragi shows a slightly worried expression. She declares, "Oh no, a zombie," while also admitting, "I just can't handle horror stuff." Icon Sumeragi has a wide-eyed, nervous look. She states she'll sing today, and then asks if viewers can tell she's super nervous right now. Icon Sumeragi's expression is content and happy, with one eye closed. She shares that she did really well on her test today, so she's in a good mood. Arisu Yamabuki, enraged, points at Iko, his face sweating profusely, and shouts that her face looks the same for all of them. Iko, startled and visibly annoyed, tells him, "Not so loud." Arisu continues his outburst, proclaiming that her avatar is way too lifeless, and questioning, "Like hell I can," in response to Icon Sumeragi's avatar asking if he can see how excited she is, all while Icon maintains a placid, neutral expression. A new, more expressive VTuber avatar with pigtails and a cheerful demeanor stretches out her arms, surrounded by various animated facial expressions. She explains that you can do so much more with 2D drawings these days, and by modifying or switching individual parts, they can be just as expressive as 3D models. She points out that Iko's avatar only barely qualifies as animated. Iko Carino sits on a rolling chair, looking down with a somber expression. She acknowledges that she knows that, but admits she sucks at computer stuff, and commissioning someone to do it isn't cheap either. Arisu looks down, his expression serious and thoughtful as he thoughtfully calls out Iko's name, Carino. Iko, now looking at Arisu with a skeptical expression, reminds him that he's a gopher boy, while Arisu looks away, embarrassed, admitting that he forgot that was his job title. Iko then asks him who he thinks the man in front of him is. Arisu Yamabuki, with a confident smirk, tells Iko to just leave everything to him. He proudly declares, I, Arisu Yamabuki, am quite adept with most computer programs. Iko Carino looks at Arisu with wide, sparkling eyes, a blush on her cheeks, clearly impressed. She utters a soft, amazed, wow. Arisu, looking concerned, reminds Iko that she has her own job to do too, and should really separate her avatar into layers and redraw it. Iko, eyes sparkling with excitement, exclaims that she's gonna save so much money, prompting Arisu to question if she should really say that part out loud. Iko Carino sits hunched over a drawing tablet, holding a stylus, a look of focused determination on her face. Her brow is furrowed, indicating she's working hard on the avatar overhaul. The scene transitions, indicated by a text box stating, "A few days past." A small, simple drawing of Arisu's head with an open mouth appears next to it, suggesting time has passed in a busy, perhaps exhausting manner. Arisu, as a simplified stick figure, enthusiastically gestures at a whiteboard, showing two different drawings of cats. He points emphatically, declaring, not like this at one, and like this at the other, while the cat figure stands beside him looking unimpressed. Arisu dramatically presents the newly updated avatar to Iko, striking a pose and proclaiming the wait is finally over for her, and that he shall now unveil Icon Sumeragi version 2. Icon Sumeragi, the avatar, appears on screen still with the same neutral expression. Iko, looking utterly bewildered, states, I don't see anything different here. Arisu, undeterred, urges her to take a good look. Iko looks on, still unimpressed. Arisu explains that while her avatar still has the same look, yes, it actually got a major overhaul under the hood. Iko's avatar on the screen now shows a slightly surprised, blushing expression, her eyes wide. Arisu explains that the avatar can now track her facial expressions and display a rich variety of emotions. Arisu stands by Iko's desk looking at her expectantly. He suggests she try laughing. Iko, sitting at her desk, calmly responds, okay. Iko attempts to laugh, producing stiff ah-ha-ha-ha sounds. On the screen, her avatar smiles widely, mirroring Iko's effort, but the effect is rather forced. Iko continues her stiff, repetitive, how amusing laughter, which is reflected by the equally artificial smile of her avatar on the screen. Arisu, with a disappointed look, asks Iko if she can put a bit more heart into it. Iko, her expression still unreadable despite her attempts to convey emotion, simply asks, what? And insists, I am. Arisu scratches his head in frustration, his eyes close. He explains to Iko that her viewers want to connect with her on an emotional level, and while she can program in hotkeys to make her avatar smile, that's not good enough. He emphasizes that her avatar should be able to express all of that, because her viewers want to see her smile, or get angry for real. Iko, shown with a forced, almost robotic smile, retorts that she's always smiling during a broadcast. Arisu, however, counters that it's more of a fake customer service smile, and tells her she needs to show more emotion. Arisu, frowning, asks, oh yeah, as Iko fidgets nervously, pulling at her cat-eared hoodie. Her face shows a mix of reluctance and discomfort, as she admits she can't because she's not someone who is good at showing emotions. A close-up of Iko's face reveals her eyes filled with uncertainty and a hint of sadness, reinforcing her struggle with emotional expression. Arisu, with a mischievous grin, starts tickling Iko relentlessly, using what he calls toy hands, making her squirm. He challenges her, asking if she can still say that if he does this. Arisu continues to tickle Iko, who is now contorting away, clearly uncomfortable. He passionately declares that no one wants a streamer with a poker face, and that they want to see an explosion of emotions, urging her to come and bare her soul. Iko's face is a contorted mess of blush and discomfort, her eyes squeezed shut. She lets out a groan of ah. Iko throws her hands out in exasperation, her face flushed and her eyes wide with irritation. She loudly declares, I hate being tickled. A figure with a large afro, thick mustache, and round glasses appears, his expression calm and observing against a starry background. The man with the afro twirls 2 sticks on his mustache, a thoughtful expression on his face. He remarks, "Makes sense?" indicating his understanding of the situation. Arisu, holding a notepad, is shaking uncontrollably, his shoulders trembling with silent laughter. Iko's agitated voice accuses him, "You laughed just now, didn't you?" Arisu, still shaking, denies it vehemently. "I'm not laughing." Iko's face, now glowing with anger and a blush, glares at Arisu. She shrieks, "No," as Arisu, still avoiding eye contact, is branded a stubborn one. She demands, "Look at me." Arisu, still trying to hide his laughter, stumbles backward and crashes into a wall, causing a loud sound. The cat figure appears next to him, unimpressed, and advises him, "Just give it up." Arisu cries out, "Whoa!" Iko Kurino is splayed out on the floor, laughing joyfully, her face flushed and tears in her eyes. She is undeniably adorable in her candid amusement. Arisu looks on, a deep blush on his face, internally recognizing this genuine adorable reaction is exactly what her fans want to see. Arisu, still blushing and flustered, manages to say that if she can do this during a stream, she'll explode in popularity. A dark-haired girl with twin pigtails glares fiercely, her avatar shown as a menacing, shadowy figure with horns. Her friend, a girl with short black hair, looks on with a smile. The twin-tailed girl glares at Arisu, who is visibly sweating and flustered, and demands, "Hey, you! What are you doing to Iko?" The twin-tailed girl and her short-haired friend peer through an open window into the room where Arisu is, wielding a long pole to prod him. Arisu, startled, looks back at them with wide eyes. The twin-tailed girl and her friend lean through the window, the friend explaining that the door was locked and nobody answered when they knocked. So, they decided to take a peek in case someone had passed out. The twin-tailed girl, wide-eyed and shocked, asks, "Whoa, did Eiko-chan get pounced on?" Arisu, surrounded by angry pounding sound effects on the door, sighs in frustration. He mutters that explaining this is going to be a pain, as an unseen voice loudly demands, "Open the door already." The blonde-haired girl, Iko, looks at the twin-tailed girl, who's still looking quite annoyed, as a door clicks open between them. The twin-tailed girl, looking agitated, confronts Iko, asking if she's okay because her clothes are all messed up. Iko, still looking a bit flustered, calmly replies that it's nothing really. Iko fidgets nervously, a blush on her face as she recounts the events. "All he did was touch me all over my body, and then push me to the floor." Her words, while technically true, paint a very misleading picture. Arisu is completely flabbergasted, his eyes wide in disbelief at Iko's description. The twin-tailed girl, enraged, demands, "What the hell?" and then turns to Arisu, shouting, "You? Is that true?" Arisu looks away, pinching the bridge of his nose, seemingly giving up on explaining the situation. He muses that Japanese truly is a deep, fascinating language, realizing how Iko's phrasing sounds. The twin-tailed girl scolds him, telling him to stop musing about his newfound insight. The twin-tailed girl forcefully pulls a shocked Arisu by the arm, declaring, "We're going to the police station." Arisu, with wide, terrified eyes, stammers, "The police?" The unimpressed cat figure watches them leave. Arisu, still looking thoughtful, calls out his own name, Bucky, to himself, seemingly contemplating the events. Iko looks at Arisu with a sweet, genuine smile and a blush, thanking him for everything. She declares that she's going to try and give her viewers a genuine smile on her next stream. Arisu looks down with a knowing smile, indicating he understands her sentiment. Arisu, now with a dignified expression, tells Iko he has high hopes for her, while his inner self, represented by a small, alarm drawing, screams, "What's with this cool and dignified manner all of a sudden?" A wide shot of the school building's courtyard with multiple floors and windows visible is shown, indicating the passage of time with the text, "The next day." In a classroom filled with students at their desks, a student asks what another student is watching. The second student replies that it's Ikan Sumeragi-chan's stream. The first student, who has short dark hair, leans towards his friend asking, "Yeah? Let me see," while his friend explains that her avatar got updated and is supposedly more expressive now. A screen displays the title Ikan Sumeragi for 2.0 Reveal, with buttons for subscribe, share, and save, along with like and dislike icons, building anticipation for the new avatar. Ikan Sumeragi, the avatar, appears on screen with a slight, hesitant smile and a single-word bubble reading. Iko Kurino, in her cat-eared hoodie, sits rigidly in front of her tablet, her face flushed with a nervous blush, while Arisu stands behind her, looking confused. He remarks that he's not sure he sees any difference as drip-like sound effects surround Iko. Arisu whispers to Iko, asking, "Hey, Iko, how is your face even stiffer than usual?" Iko, her face still flushed with embarrassment, whispers back, I just can't. I can't do this after all." Arisu then questions, "What's even the point of updating your avatar?" The chapter title is displayed, Chapter 7, I Can't Smile in Front of the Camera. Arisu, with an intense, determined expression, advises Iko to listen up. When her viewers catch a glimpse of her emotions, that's the moment she'll explode in popularity as a VTuber. Arisu instructs Iko to be sure to engrave those words into her heart. Iko, standing at attention with a hand raised to her forehead, replies with a crisp, I cap. Arisu reassures Iko, telling her not to worry because she has a very lovely smile. He then encourages her to show the world what her new avatar is capable of. Iko, with a determined smirk and a confident gleam in her eye, declares, "Leave it to me. I'm gonna give it my all." Iko, in her cat-eared hoodie, sits rigidly in front of her tablet, her face still flushed and nervous. Surrounded by drip sound effects, viewer comments flash across the screen, questioning Ever 2.0. I don't see any difference, and asking, is it even tracking your face? One viewer even comments, it's the same avatar, El Mao. Ikon Sumeragi, the avatar, appears on the screen, frozen with a look of wide-eyed surprise and sweat beads on her face. Comments like I just can't tell and somehow are visible, reflecting the audience's confusion about the new avatar. Arisu Yamabuki, looking shocked and frustrated, points at the screen. He exclaims that her avatar's face is even stiffer than usual, highlighting the failed attempt at emotional expression. In a classroom setting, a group of students, including Arisu, look at a tablet. One student asks, what part of this is new and improved exactly? Another murmurs, clearly unimpressed. Iko Carino looks distraught, her face flushed with a deep blush as she sits slumped. On the tablet, her Ikon Sumeragi avatar appears with a neutral expression. Viewer comments display on the side. One saying, I had thought that maybe her avatar would be cuter. Another asking, but was she just clickbaiting? Below the screen, the viewer count reads 325 watching, suggesting a significant drop. Ikon Sumeragi, the avatar, is shown on the screen with her neutral expression. A viewer comment above her reads, I had thought that maybe her avatar would be cuter. Arisu stands behind a despondent, red-faced Iko, who is still surrounded by drip sound effects, signifying her emotional distress and failure during the stream. Arisu crosses his arms thoughtfully, explaining that it's not that she can't show emotions, she just can't do it in front of other people, though he did have to force it out of her before. This observation offers a new insight into Iko's struggle. Arisu, still observing Iko from afar, acknowledges that she's never expressed her emotions through her avatar before. He admits he didn't think she'd just freeze up like this, revealing his concern for her unexpected reaction. Iko looks up, her face flushed but with a determined expression, as Arisu considers whether it's because of a bad experience in the past. He concludes that he'll guess he'll have to enact his plan, looking on with a smirk. A close-up of Iko's face shows her blushing intensely, her mouth slightly open, with small tap-tap sound effects around her head, indicating a gentle, persistent action directed at her. Arisu stands in front of Iko, holding up a whiteboard with "Smile" written on it, tapping it repeatedly to get her attention. Iko, still blushing, looks at him with a reluctant expression as the tapping continues around them. Iko looks away, her face still red, and sighs, Ugh, I can't. She explains that it feels like everyone is staring at her all up close and personal, and she just can't move a muscle on her face. Arisu looks sternly at Iko, holding up his notepad, which now reads, Then maybe it's time for my last resort. He flips the page, a new plan forming. Arisu's expression remains serious as he holds up the notepad, which now warns, It's a bit drastic though. He is clearly prepared for a more unconventional approach. A close-up of Iko's wide, sparkling eyes conveys her intense curiosity and perhaps apprehension about what Arisu's last resort might be. Arisu holds up the final page of his notepad, which dramatically asks, What will you do? Do you want my help? He flips the page, awaiting her answer. Iko clutches her face, a clear expression of distress and a deep blush on her cheeks. She cries out, Help me! Arisu, with a confident and knowing look, holds up his notepad, which now proudly declares, You got it. Arisu stands confidently, his back to the cat figure, who observes him with a curious expression. Footsteps echo, indicating Arisu is taking action. Arisu stands behind Iko at her desk, looking down at her, a focused expression on his face. Iko looks up at him, her expression uncertain, as she prepares to follow his instructions. Arisu suddenly embraces Iko from behind, startling her. Her shoulders are raised in surprise, and her hands are held out as if caught off guard. Iko's face is completely flustered, eyes wide in shock and a deep blush spreading across her cheeks. She stutters out a bewildered, "Wha..." A close-up of Arisu's profile shows a determined, almost smug expression, as if he's just executed his plan. He remains silent, letting his actions speak. Arisu, still close to Iko, presses a button on her streaming setup. He declares, "Let's pause the stream," and a beep sound effect indicates the action, leaving Iko stunned. Arisu wipes sweat from his brow, exhaling with a phew. The cat figure, however, looks utterly shocked, mouth agape, and screams, "Wait, what?" Arisu, wiping his forehead, asks a fuming Iko, "Your viewer count was dropping anyway." Iko, agitated, demands, "Huh, what are you doing?" Bucky, and admonishes him that he can't just pause a live stream like that because everyone was watching, you know. Arisu looks sternly at Iko, telling her to just calm down for a second and take a good look at herself, suggesting a deeper reason for his actions. Iko is shown sitting, her cat-eared hoodie now removed, revealing her blonde hair. Her face is flushed, and she's sweating. Arisu points out that she sweated buckets because she was so nervous and suggests she should take some clothes off to cool down. Arisu, now out of view, calmly tells Iko that he couldn't care less what she calls him, and she should just take some clothes off before she catches a cold. Iko's response from off-panel is a blunt, "You're an ultra-pervert." Iko, now only in her blouse and skirt, is seen pulling down her leggings, her face still slightly flushed. Her removed hoodie and leggings lie on the floor around her chair, emphasizing her vulnerability. Arisu, with a serious and slightly annoyed expression, begins to speak, saying, "You know..." Arisu then looks at Iko with a disappointed expression, a small sigh escaping him. He says that he's frankly disappointed in her, Iko Carino, and that she spoke with such confidence before the stream, asking if that was nothing more than hot air, calling it, "What a letdown." Iko pouts, her face still slightly flushed, as she replies that he doesn't have to be such a jerk about this. She then adds that she just didn't expect that she'd be so nervous. Arisu, with a smug grin, chuckles and asserts that even so, she should still be able to smile, right? He then suggests that means she's not serious about her dream. Iko glares at Arisu, a blush on her face, and challenges him, "You sure like being a know-it-all, don't you, Bucky?" She insists that she's pretty serious about this, you know? Arisu, with a dismissive eye, tells Iko, "Nope, you're not serious at all." He condescendingly labels her as just some kid fooling around online. Iko slams her hands onto the table, eyes wide with fury and a deep blush on her face. She screams at Arisu, "I am serious, you insufferable ass." Arisu looks back at Iko, his face frozen in a look of stunned surprise, his mouth slightly agape. Iko continues her furious outburst, her face contorted with anger and a deep blush. She shouts that she's been doing her damn best, you know, and declares that she's kept her mouth shut and put up with his crap this whole time, but enough is enough. Arisu, still surprised, concedes he wouldn't call that keeping your mouth shut, but accepts it. Iko, in a moment of raw emotion, shouts that she has emotions and is human, declaring it's part of being human. However, her expression quickly shifts to fear, and she admits, "But I just can't do this. I'm too scared." Arisu looks at Iko with a serious, probing expression. He asks, "Why don't you give up then?" He then directly questions her, "You actually hate streaming, don't you?" Iko's eyes fill with tears, her face still flushed with emotion. She shouts, "No, I love streaming," and then with a choked voice insists, "I don't want to give up, huh?" Arisu looks at Iko with a piercing gaze, asking, "Do you really love streaming that much?" He then follows up with a softer, more genuine question, "What do you like about it?" Iko's face breaks into a wide, genuine, and joyful smile, her eyes sparkling. She exclaims, "Huh? Well, you know," and then with a beaming expression states, "I like that I can interact with hundreds of people." A different female student, with long black hair and glasses, rushes into the room calling out, "Iko-chan," with a frantic expression. Iko turns to look at her, a gentle smile still on her face, and responds, "And also..." The cat figure looks alarmed, mouth agape, exclaiming, "Whoa, what's wrong?" The frantic black-haired girl off-panel warns, "Don't give you that." The black-haired girl, looking extremely distressed, informs Iko with wide eyes that she didn't turn off her audio for the stream, and their whole exchange is being streamed online. Iko's face immediately goes pale, her eyes wide with shock and fear, as the reality of her predicament sinks in. Arisu, looking terrified, throws his hands up in the air, asking, "What are you doing, Iko?" Iko, shrouded in a dark, ominous aura, wails, it's all over for me." Iko, still shrouded in despair, insists, "No way, I'm totally getting flamed." The cat figure standing next to her urges her to, "Anyway, take a look at the stream." A flood of positive viewer comments overwhelms the screen celebrating Iko's raw emotional outburst. Comments include, "She actually raised her voice." Ikon-chan's voice, "Love the contrast." Ikon-chan is so cute. Epic fail, love all. Her real self is adorable. She's so animated and adorable. And angry Ikon-chan slaps actually. The viewer count has skyrocketed to 2041 watching, as Arisu, Aiko, and the other girls stare in disbelief. Arisu, the cat figure, and the black-haired girl all express surprise and confusion, asking, "Not when there's so many viewers. Why don't you end what happened? How'd this happen? What's going on here?" And so that girl's voice was Yamabuki's. Arisu realizes this is a tsunami of people, not flames. Arisu looks contemplatively at Iko, explaining that he said before the stream began that a VTuber explodes in popularity the moment they show their emotions, but admits that's not entirely correct. Iko looks up at Arisu, a blush on her face, as he clarifies that, to be more precise, it's when you accidentally reveal your true self that you become popular, suggesting her recent outburst was the key. Arisu, with a knowing look, asks Iko if she knows what her viewers want to hear now. He then suggests, "Why don't you end the stream on a good note?" Iko closes her eyes, letting out a soft sigh of relief, the tension draining from her as she comprehends the situation. The cat figure clears its throat and then inhales deeply, preparing to speak, indicating an important announcement is about to be made. A close-up of Iko's face shows her looking down, a soft, genuine smile beginning to form on her lips, hinting at newfound confidence. Iko lets out a gentle huff of air, preparing herself for her final statement on the stream. A subtle but significant moment. Ikon Sumeragi, the avatar, appears on screen with a truly radiant, sparkling smile, extending a hand towards the viewers. She giggles, "Tee-hee-hee," and then declares, "Forget about it, Biyam!" Two students in the classroom react with extreme excitement, eyes wide and mouths agape, shouting, "Whoa, so cute, yeah!" One of them enthusiastically declares, "Gatmo rules." The chat screen is flooded with enthusiastic viewer comments like, one more time, Beam, get mad again, bees, smile, spam more bees, this is a good stream." Due to our you can be N and Beam. Iko's avatar is shown, and she states, "IIL, end of the stream for now." A toilet door swings open with a soft hiss, indicating the end of the stream and the immediate need for a break. Arisu is sitting on a toilet, sighing, "Phew." He looks exhausted as he remarks, "I swear there's such a handful." Arisu continues to sit on the toilet, tapping his foot and making a rhythmic pa-tang sound, lost in his thoughts. Arisu, still in the bathroom, receives a notification on his phone, which he identifies as the notification for Iko's exclusive stream. He grumbles, "Why can't she just talk to me on the phone?" Ikon Sumeragi's avatar appears on screen, smiling brightly with the text, "Hey Bucky." She asks him, "Is it a good time to talk?" Arisu, still in the bathroom, responds to Iko's call. He explains, "Sure, I'm using the bathroom right now, after all." He then asks her, "That's a good time for you?" Ikon Sumeragi's avatar looks at him with a soft smile, explaining that since she has a new avatar now, she figured she might as well use it to give him her thanks, as she didn't get to thank him earlier. Arisu, with a slight smirk, asks, "Thank me?" He then remarks, "All I actually did was throw insults at you." Iko's voice, represented by text against a starry background, reveals her astute observation. "It was all part of your plan, wasn't it?" She continues, "You forgot to turn off the stream and made me mad on purpose." Arisu closes his eyes, a slight smile on his face, feigning innocence. He responds with a playful, "Oh," and asks, "Whatever do you mean?" Iko's voice, still off-panel against the static background, states that she hasn't completely gotten over her fear yet, but she'll keep trying her best to express herself. Arisu, looking down, responds with a thoughtful, and then asks, "Huh." He then asks, "It really can't compare." Arisu looks directly into his phone, a confident smirk on his face as he tells Iko that her new avatar is pretty good and all. Ikon Sumeragi's avatar looks directly into the phone, her expression neutral but attentive. Arisu's voice from off-panel continues. Ikon Sumeragi's avatar in the phone suddenly stiffens, her expression becoming rigid and unmoving, reflecting Iko's internal reaction. A sharp, spiky speech bubble from Arisu exclaims, "Hey, you were all poker-faced again." He questions if all his effort today was for nothing. The cat figure is shown in the room, looking at the empty chair where Iko was, and asks, "Hello?" Talk to me. Iko, from off-panel, realizes with a gasp, oh no, if I hide my face, the program will stop tracking it. Iko, now curled up on the floor, blushing deeply, laments. Oh man, what's going on? She struggles, realizing that she should be able to smile normally in front of Bucky. A close-up on Iko's eye, filled with determination, shows her internal struggle. She acknowledges that she should be able to smile when he looks at her, but her face just goes hot. The chapter title is displayed, Chapter 8, I Can't Smile in Front of You. A vibrant school setting opens with Uzuki, a girl with striking black hair and a white streak, smiling confidently in the foreground, clutching her documents, while several other students are engrossed in their work around a large conference table. One student, Character 0, points upward and identifies her as Vice President Uzuki, as another student to the left, Character 04, states that the first sports day since we went co-ed is drawing near. Character 03 elaborates that, and we might run into some unexpected issues, but Uzuki quickly reassures everyone, declaring that she believes every committee can work together to ensure everything runs smoothly. She then directs attention to the documents, instructing that they can see the documents and hand out for more details. The scene shifts to a more chaotic moment where character Dakuori9, a girl with dark hair and a tie, gasps in dismay, exclaiming, "No, I messed up," as she seemingly drops a document, while character Dakuori9, a girl with light hair, notices something peculiar about the papers and asks in disbelief, "Why is your selfie among the documents?" Character Uwol1, another male student with dark hair, also reacts with wide eyes, holding what appears to be a picture, stating, "I have your selfie too." Uzuki, her face flushed with embarrassment, brings a finger to her lips and shyly says, "Teehee." She then sheepishly requests that they put the picture away, stating, "This is embarrassing, but can you just put it away?" In the student council room, Character 2, a male student with a dark tie, sternly announces that he will be collecting those documents, while Character 2, another male student, looking utterly defeated with a single tear, silently thinks to himself. And Character Mile student, our third male student, clenches his fist in relief and declares, "I'm so glad I joined the student council." Uzuki, the girl with the distinct black and white hair, looks away with a slight blush, lost in thought as the chapter title Chapter 9 is displayed, hinting at the upcoming narrative developments. Uzuki stands confidently in the hallway as a chorus of voices from her classmates surrounds her. One student with glasses, Character 0, politely asks her, "Vice President, I want to talk about the gym schedule." While another student, Character 3, excitedly blurts out, "Shinobu-chan, I need help with the homework we got the other day." In the school hallway, a group of students, Character 4 through Character LCO8, are seen chatting, drawing the attention of two unseen observers. One wonders aloud, "Vice President Uzuki always draws a crowd, huh?" To which the other, Character to Quanter 4, responds with a hesitant, "Well, I mean..." Uzuki beams brightly, her head slightly tilted, as she responds to the praise. The unseen student continues, noting that there aren't many girls who are as stunningly beautiful as her. Uzuki then interjects, "That's right. So Christopher and penciled in for right now. Yana Gaspergana, my guy. Christopher Vive, you are issled in for right now." Uzuki's expression freezes, a slight blush rising to her cheeks, as the unseen student finishes his thought with fervent admiration, proclaiming, "Her voice is as lovely as ever." Uzuki turns her head with a questioning, as Character 1, a girl with black hair and a tie, and Character 2, a girl with blonde hair and a tie, approach her. Character 1 then asks, "Oh, Shinobu-chan, do you have a moment?" Shinobu-chan, a girl with long dark hair, nods, listening intently as Character Darks 4, a girl with dark hair, explains that there are apparently some errors with the proposal for Sports Day, and Character Unsexure 5, a girl with light hair, adds that, "So now we have to rewrite it." Character Unstare then expresses their dilemma, stating, "But we don't really know which parts we got wrong." And then Character Unsix, with dark hair, asks Shinobu directly, "Can you fix it?" Shinobu's eye widens slightly, a bead of sweat forming on her temple as she processes the request, hinting at the burden she feels. Shinobu-chan, however, quickly recovers, beaming confidently with a wide smile, and declares enthusiastically, "No problem, just leave it to me." The two girls, Character Unster 1 and Character 2, respond with relief and praise. Character Unster 1 exclaiming, "I knew we could count on you, Shinobu-chan," and Character 2 adds, "You're so reliable." Before Character 1 then presses her further, asking, "Can you get it done today?" Shinobu laughs, a sweat drop forming on her forehead, and sighs, "Oh no, I'll be here until dark." She then reflects internally, I do this every time, always acting like I can do everything. The weight of her commitment settles in. Shinobu, walking away from the other students, contemplates her workload. She thinks about asking for assistance. Maybe I should ask the broadcasting club for help, but quickly dismisses the idea, concluding, but that it inconvenience them. The camera focuses on a door labeled Broadcasting Room Temporary. As Shinobu's internal monologue continues, the broadcasting club. Inside the broadcasting room, a girl with short red hair and a ribbon, Character 0, chews on her finger thoughtfully, while another student, Character 01, nods in agreement as Character 04, a girl with dark hair, announces, "It's that time of year again. Sports day is nearly upon us." Character 3, a girl with long red hair, adds that they probably won't do anything different this year for their preparations. Character W with black hair listens intently. Ozuki, with a thumbs up, smiles as she outlines the broadcasting club's role. We'll provide live commentary for every contest, tally the score, announce the progress, and so on. She proudly states, in a sense, we're the main stars behind the scenes. She also adds that they'll set up the audio equipment. A male student, Character 7, with short black hair and glasses, smirks with enthusiasm, declaring, "The main star, huh? That sure gets my blood pumping." Meanwhile, Character 6, a girl with long red hair and pigtails, looks at him with a deadpan expression, retorting, "You'll just be setting up the equipment, gopher boy." He chuckles to himself, "Hey, hey, 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 hey." Character Shirake 0, a girl with short red hair, closes her eyes and suggests, "First, we need someone to act as a contact for all the clubs," before adding, "Let's decide on our roles then." Azuki, with her characteristic smile, volunteers, stating, "I'll do that." She explains her reasoning. "I'm on the student council, so that'll make it easier." Character W Nero looks thoughtfully at Azuki, her expression serious as she continues, "Okay, next. We'll need someone to tally the score." Azuki brightly volunteers again. "I guess I'll do that too then." While Character Sturi, the red-haired girl from before, meekly says, "Same." In stark contrast, Character Stur 4, the girl with pigtails, throws her arms up in frustration, exclaiming, "I can't do math at all." Character Psych 6, the red-haired girl, looks intently at Uzuki, questioning, "We'll need to create a schedule for progress announcements too. Who's going to do this?" Zuki, with a determined expression, volunteers once more, stammering slightly, I'll do that too." Character 7, the male student with glasses, then reminds them, "The table tennis club didn't get any commentary thanks to that." Character 8, an anonymous student, nods, asking, "The two of us did that last year, right?" Azuki, smiling at the blonde girl, Character 9, insists, "Not at all. I actually enjoy this." Character 9, however, still looks concerned, asking Azuki, "Isn't it a lot of work for you? Are you okay with this, Shinobu?" Shinobu, in a full body shot, makes a peace sign, insisting, "It's fine! Just leave it all to me." Character 1, the blonde girl, still looks worried, saying, "I feel bad. Let us do half the work at least." Character W's 2, the girl with pigtails, comments with a slight frown, "Shinobu is a real go-getter." The male student with glasses, Character 3, remains silent, a thoughtful expression on his face. Character Biliary, the blonde girl, turns to him asking, "Can I say something?" The male student, Character Unger Sky 5, his eyes wide with determination, declares, "We have new equipment now, so why don't we put on an event of our own?" He then suggests, "Something we can work together on, something that just screams broadcasting club." Character Cheer 6, the girl with red pigtails, looks surprised and intrigued, asking, "An event?" Azuki, standing behind the male student, Character 1, claps her hands together, her eyes sparkling, exclaiming, "Ooh, that sounds like a great idea." She then muses, "What should we do? Let's see." A flurry of ideas erupts. Rika suggests, "Why don't we rent the club room out as storage space?" Ego proposes, "How about a newsletter?" Nine exclaims, "Let's do a maid cafe." Arisu quickly shoots down the maid cafe idea, stating, "That has nothing to do with broadcasting," and also rejects the storage space, declaring, "We're not trying to run a business here." Arisu then dismisses the newsletter as that's too boring. The male student, Character Free, sighs, recognizing the disarray, muttering, we're just all over the place with our ideas," while a cacophony of blah blah erupts from the other students, their silhouettes indicating their differing opinions. Uzuki, with a hopeful and determined smile, clenches her hands together, announcing, In that case, I'll collect all our ideas, and put together a plan we can all be happy with." She encourages them, "So, just speak your mind and give me all your ideas." The room is filled with more conflicting suggestions. Someone shouts Yada, and another cries, I want an ice cream shop. While character 6 suggests, all right, how about a public recital of the Yamabuki family's glorious history? Character Yorshcore immediately shoots that down, stating that snorefest of an event would violate broadcasting law. More Yada fills the air. The club members, including Character 0, Character 01, Character 02, Character 02, Character 03, and Character 04 stand in the hallway. Character Urstus 3, a girl with long red hair happily declares, Alright, that's everyone's homework. Character Ulterior, girl with short red hair then tells everyone, Try to come up with something good by tomorrow, to which Character O, a male student, replies, Okay. Character In Scare 5, a girl with short red hair, turns to Shinobu with a cheerful smile and asks, Why don't we do karaoke later? Character Shisgangs, the girl with red pigtails, enthusiastically agrees, I'm down. While Shinobu-chan, with a slightly apologetic smile, replies, Oh, sorry, I still have some work left. Character 8, the red-haired girl, looks at Shinobu with concern, offering, Do you need help? Shinobu-chan gazes back, her expression thoughtful, considering the offer. Shinobu-chan then smiles reassuringly, asserting, I'll be fine, and adding, It's something I can do on my own. Character Swear 11, a girl with light hair waves goodbye, saying, Okay, we'll see you around. While Character 12, the girl with pigtails, echoes, Yup, bye-bye. Shinobu, looking cheerful, waves goodbye to her departing club members, her hand raised in a friendly gesture. As soon as her friends are out of sight, Shinobu's smile vanishes, replaced by a sigh and a tired expression, a bead of sweat tracing her cheek. Shinobu-chan starts to slump, muttering, Ugh, there I go again, acting like I can do every, when suddenly, Character 0, the male student with black hair, appears directly in front of her, his eyes wide and intense, causing her to exclaim, Whoa. T stares at her with an intense gaze. Shinobu, startled, pulls back slightly and asks, Is something wrong, Yamabuki-kun? Did you forget something? Yamabuki-kun, with a determined dash, runs past Shinobu, leaving her looking confused, asking, Huh? It was really nothing then. He exclaims, What? To himself, seemingly in response to her question. The hallway stretches out, seemingly empty, as the focus remains on Shinobu's shocked expression from the previous panel. Yamabuki-kun sprints back with incredible speed, causing Shinobu to recoil in shock, exclaiming, You're scaring me. Seriously, what are you doing? Yamabuki-kun, without explanation, grabs Shinobu's hand and urges, Come with me, Uzuki. She looks up at him, bewildered, asking, Huh? Yamabuki-kun roughly pulls Shinobu-chan into a room, shutting the door behind them with a slam. Her eyes widen in shock as he looms over her, his expression intense. She nervously asks, Uzuki, what? Yamabuki-kun, leaning close to Shinobu, asks her intently, Can you swear that you won't tell a soul what I'm about to do? Shinobu, her face beat red, stammers out a nervous, yes. Shinobu's face is a mask of shock and anticipation, her heart pounding bay-dump as she wonders, Whoa, what's going on here? Why is this a secret? Don't tell me he's going to. The mystery only deepens for her. Yamabuki-kun slowly extends his hand, holding a small, additive-free cough drop wrapped in paper. Shinobu, still slightly bewildered, stares at the cough drop and asks, What is this? Yamabuki-kun plainly answers, A cough drop. Yamabuki-kun looks at her with a concerned expression, stating, Your voice sounds off today. He then asks, Do you have a cold or something? Shinobu-chan looks surprised, her eyes wide, as Yamabuki-kun explains, However, you can suck on it to make yourself feel better. Yamabuki-kun, sweating and panting, leans forward in a conspiratorial whisper, his voice urgent, Do not tell anyone that I brought cough drops to school. He emphasizes, I'm a Yamabuki. I'm not supposed to break school rules. He then explains they treat them like a snack after all. Shinobu's eye sparkles with a realization, her earlier embarrassment forgotten as she internally processes Yamabuki-kun's subtle concern for her, confirming her voice is as lovely as ever. Shinobu-chan smiles softly, a genuine look of appreciation on her face, and says, That's very sweet of you, thank you. Yamabuki-kun, his back to the viewer, confidently states, Of course I can. Shinobu, however, looks surprised, admitting, Still, I'm surprised that you can tell I sound different. Shinobu-chan's eyes widen in surprise and a slight blush appears on her cheeks as Yamabuki-kun reveals, I've always been watching you and listening to your voice. An exclamation mark hovers over her head, signaling her astonishment. Yamabuki-kun, his eyes closed in a confident smirk, explains, "It's my duty as the club's leader." Shinobu looks at him with a puzzled expression, asking, "What's the matter?" Shinobu-chan blushes, fidgeting nervously as she processes Yamabuki-kun's words. She mutters, I see. You're always watching me, huh?" A small smile plays on her lips as she adds, "Then I guess I'll need to pay better attention to my appearance." Yamabuki-kun looks away, a slight flush on his own face, and softly calls out Herzuki. Yamabuki-kun turns his head slightly to look at Shinobu, telling her, "You should try to find some time to relax as well." He then criticizes her overworking. "You're clearly biting off more than you can chew." Yamabuki-kun, looking at Shinobu from a slightly upward angle, continues his advice, asking, "Why don't you rely on other people more?" Shinobu, however, simply smiles confidently, assuring him, "I'm not biting off more than I can chew." She insists, "This is just how I've always been." Shinobu-chan, looking out the window, reveals her true desires with a faint blush, admitting, "I want to act like a model student and play the role of the reliable student council vice president." She continues, "I guess I just want everyone to tell me how amazing and awesome I am." Yamabuki-kun's eye widens dramatically in surprise, a clear gasp echoing his astonishment at her frank confession. Shinobu-chan immediately blushes and spins around, waving her hands in a dismissive gesture, exclaiming, "What the heck am I saying? Hey, 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 hey." She quickly adds, "Sorry, pretend you didn't hear anything."